helping the city of Dunmorok more than he already was, which involved helping turn people into stone. So the crew underground decided to take a long stairs and walk their way to Dunmorok after a good couple hours of walking. Thamor looked into a basin, saw what we assume is Groombar, and has started petrifying. And the disguised dwarves above managed to find their way in through the main tunnel system, which is not as straight and narrow as one would expect. Were stabbed by some rocks, but listened to head GPS spawned by the void to get them to the city, where everyone coincidentally all appeared at the same time. And now we've joined up and are resting in one of the nearby abandoned buildings of the city.
Yeah, coincidentally. Coincidentally, meaning I think it was way too long. We were splitting the party for way too long. With 7 people, if it was like smaller groups, maybe. With 7 people, it gets pretty rough to try and keep the party split for so long. Um,
There's not mistakes, it's only happy accidents.
and one of them made Thamor a god, so you know.
There you go.
And the other accident got head GPS, so it all worked out in the end.
Um, but yeah, so you guys took refuge in one of the abandoned buildings in the outskirts of. Control page here. Yeah. So you guys are in that large section that's titly so you guys remember like Grimlock's Fall, separated by the road from another um, grouping of hovels and stuff that you do see some semblance of lights and stuff coming from um, different sources of like what you would imagine as magical lighting or campfire. Um, Looking towards the west, towards this like the main city, going into it within this large underground cavernous space beneath the mountain. Um, the walls of Dunmorok stand high, surrounding the main city proper. Um, it is dark and silent from what you can see, with the only lights really emanating from the castle keep. But in the darkness of the beneath the mountain, it's hard to make out a whole lot of details. However, there is still faint lighting. Um, for the most part, due to a lot of the crystals within the walls and ceiling of this cavern. However, to those without dark sight, it is still a very dark, shadowy place where if there is no light present. So, what did you guys want to do?
Are Atenthos and Alton still dwarves?
I believe they
Or did they
dropped their
drop that?
guys. Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe they dropped their guys at the end to reconvene with everyone. As far as what
That's
they'll
right.
do after the long rest, because you guys all ended uh, with a long rest, taking shelter in one of the abandoned like stone hovels.
Is there like any books nearby that kind of like give a history of what's going like of this under part of the city?
Um,
Since we're in accommodating in a home. Just wondering if there's just like any type of literature or anything like that.
I mean, you can go ahead and roll me an investigation. However, I think you guys rolled some last time, if I'm not mistaken, and for the most part, what you
Um,
guys had found was mostly emptied hovels in this area with like everything basically dust and stone. Anything that would have existed is long since almost faded away or worn down. It's as if nothing has been in this particular area in quite some time.
okay. I mean, if we already did it, then that's okay.
I can't remember if it was not exactly for that, but I remember you guys rolled to inspect, see if there were living denizens or
People,
things within
yeah.
the novels.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give a quick investigation for book.
Good investigating.
Yeah. Just gotta look for a book.
Despite the high investigation, there's can't really say there's anything to find when there is nothing to find in this particular area.
Mm,
Um, the house hobble you've taken up residence is fairly barren. Um, you would even the only reason you are even not like knowing that it's a hovel is just its location. If this had been anywhere else, you'd have just assumed this to be a hole, almost like a hole in the ground. There is very little evidence that anyone has ever lived here in years, perhaps centuries.
okay. I guess now with not finding anything that would associate with what's going on, I'll, I suppose everything will be just taken to the street and just look around and peek inside each home, I guess. See what's going on. But not too far where like leaving the group, but just keeping like maybe within eyesight of the actual home we're staying.
Okay. Yeah, so the
Mhm.
even the general area surrounding where you guys currently are, even just kind of poking your head in, looking about, it is it is silent. There's every hovel you poke your head into is empty. Any furniture that you may find is just bits and pieces of stuff that has fallen apart, completely like has fallen apart. And my brain is not working today. I apologize. It's been a long week. Um,
Totally understandable, man.
has faded and worn out by time. So you find maybe scraps of wood, things that may have been a chair or a table at some point, eaten away by time, termites, erosion, covered in fine layer or not fine, just covered in layers of dust and ash.
All right. With these immediate surroundings, Evan just leans back into the doorway where the everyone else is kind of still huddling inside. Crossing her arms, she's just like, "Well, there's not much of anything around here. Pretty much just dirt and dust and barren. Nothing of value, and everything seems forgotten."
GM, how
Yeah.
far is it from where we are to where we're seeing lights? You said we're seeing lights over in what, the Icebeard's refuge area?
Yes.
How far
Um.
is it to the nearest speck of light,
It
roughly?
looks like it would be about like I'd say almost a mile's worth of stone
Okay.
road. It's a
Okay.
decent like it is a large carved out cavern for this city.
Sure.
And for the sheer size of it, that might be something slightly surprising to most of you or those of you that have looked around, the fact that it's so empty for such a large city.
Yeah. Okay.
Question.
Mhm.
How how far away from me can Frey go?
Believe it was 100 feet was the
If that's it, then never mind. I
I
was gonna.
believe.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I was thinking about sending him off to go investigate, but if he can only go 100 feet away from me, then
Let me double
probably not going to tell us
check
much.
because I pulled the stat block at least for some of those abilities.
Trying to
Um,
remember with Find Familiar. I think it's you can use their vision up to 100 feet, and then past that, they can keep going, but they'd have to report back what
yeah.
they see.
But yeah, but I was going under the assumption that since Frey is like linked with me, that that probably wouldn't apply. Yeah.
Yeah. It's Salty's item.
Mm,
Yeah. I I yeah, I had it share the same stat block as far as while the familiar is within 100 feet of you, you can communicate with it telepathically. As additionally, as an action, you can see through the familiar's eyes and hear what it hears until the start of your turn, gain the benefit of any special senses the familiar has. Um, I believe I did because I did write down that yeah, it is different than the familiar in that it's linked to you and they cannot exceed the 100 feet without basically fading away. Yeah, because you tried it. You tried it on the boat.
That's right.
After it reached
I
100
did.
feet, he faded away and started returning back to you.
Okay.
So he currently has a limit on his how far out he can go.
That's
I
right. I
like that
remember that.
you used the word currently just then.
I mean, I always like the fact that these abilities, as you use them, can grow and change.
Sure. Absent thoughts. Were you dwarves earlier?
In a way. But yes, we did
What
take
were
care
you
of that
doing?
appearance.
Why? What were you doing?
Try not to get caught. It's a city full of dwarves. You know, as they say, when in Galaran, do as Galaranians.
And what did doing as Galaranians entail?
Well, worshipping some sort of god. It's, you know, clerical stuff and all that. Excuse the pun.
Somehow you
Oh,
don't strike me as the communing with gods type.
ah, you'd be right. Arguably, I don't think gods are even real. They're basically, a lot of them that we consider as gods are basically archmages with a following. The
I
closest
can't
thing that would
imagine that
be.
you were especially popular among whoever it was you were hanging out with. If you were that open about your disdain for the gods.
No, I usually keep this opinion to myself. It's not nice in polite company to bring up such truths.
I
That's okay. My patron, as powerful as she is yeah, she can style herself as a god. My choice of believing it is a separate matter.
what do you think she is?
Azaz kind of looks up and around, looking away from not Rena, like on the character's name at the moment. It's been so long.
Marani?
Marani. Yes. Me too. It's been a long day.
am I am I that forgettable? God.
No, no, no. I
Roll new
forget.
character
Far
sheet.
from it.
I literally forgot every character's name.
Mhm.
Makes it feel any better. The magic
Okay.
mouth added side effects.
Let's go with
Look,
that.
looking about. Oh, maybe a fallen angel. Maybe even a fallen human. Power at a price and all that. If anything is
Is it
close
through
to a god, it would be the void. But I'm not sure it's even sentient in the way we would consider it.
is your patron what enables you to have this connection with the void?
Oh, no, no, no. My patron hates it with an undying passion. It makes life interesting. No, no. The patron is, as he pops out the hex bladed polearm, is this connection. The void is the opposite. Like I said, she is particularly disliking of the void connection, more so probably than the rest of you combined.
I can't imagine that makes your relationship particularly easy.
There's a little bit about ignoring a problem and it kind of goes away. Doesn't always work out, but you'd be surprised how much time and massaging works. It's like baking bread. When you have the yeast grow, it just takes time. Does it make it easy? No, I the life of a noble is probably harder than most people imagine in different ways. Sure, we were not starving on the street, but societal expectations take a more psychological toll. How about you?
So,
How are you growing up?
pretty much as on the opposite side of the spectrum from you as I could possibly get.
So,
I I lived in a cabin in the woods.
like a cabin or a thing that could be considered a cabin?
Eh, I suppose the latter,
Hmm.
but it was home enough for us.
Oh, so you had family.
It was just me and my grandmother.
Grandmother very kind, demanding.
She was always very kind to me.
That's great to hear. My grandmother is equally kind. My mother, Absalom shakes his head no. I don't know how they're related.
If you
But
don't mind my making a frank observation, you don't seem to care for your mother much.
Zevian told her experience with her yet.
I don't think so.
No, go ahead and swoon a new woman.
Is that commented audibly?
Who knows?
she she treats her children more like objects than people. Be a good description of it. Objects for her own gain than necessarily the betterment of her children.
Can I ask
Kind
a
of
kind of personal question?
sure, I guess I'm as open as a book as it can be. It was part of the agreement after all.
Do you think that your mother actually loves you? Or are you just a tool for her to use?
I have known that answer since I was. He starts counting on his fingers. 7, 8? That no, she doesn't. My father may love people as loony as he is, but my mother not. I try to shield the interactions I have with her as best as I can. But no, she knows it. I know it. It's just how the relationship is.
And you're okay with that?
Can you really, especially as people get older, how much can they really change, especially once they're set in their ways? You ever try to convince someone to do something that is for their betterment, but they continue to do the opposite? I'm sure you've experienced that. I mean, you're probably older
I'm
than me. I'm
sure
sure.
I'm sure everyone's experienced it. It
So
just seems
you
a
understand.
sad thing to have to experience it with your own mother.
Well, God looks away. Yeah.
I mean, that might be just the way it is, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to like it.
Then the next thing ends up being, what am I going to do about it? And right now, there's not really
Well,
any great options.
well, that's the fucked up thing about life. Sometimes there's not really much you can do.
It is what it is. For now, there is a kingdom to save over here. At least get that going. I'm fairly confident that. What was the story of this king? Took a dark deal, I'm sure, with the void, and that's what caused, kind of points out, this nightmare. For a city, it's really quiet.
It is rather disturbing, isn't it?
If we're lucky, hopefully we'll be able to bring life to this place. Good life to this place again. Did you see anything living on your way over here?
Did we see anything living over here?
No, I mean, like I said, as Evian kind of also alerted to you, the immediate area you're in is really like desolate. The only signs of life, as far as you can guess, would be any of those light sources potentially coming off um, from the settlement area to the northeast of you guys and the castle keep itself.
Well, this connection with the void is a double-edged sword in some ways. Alta and I might have been lost forever had it not been for the void. Sure, as you might have saw with the freaky head thing.
Yeah, is that what that was about? More freaky void shit?
Much like coming here, just in a less reality bending way.
Did this one make you bleed out of your eyeballs too?
Oh, no, no, thankfully not. That would have been terrible. No, it just hurt a little. And I'll be honest, guess definitely was not expecting it to appear in that capacity. But kind of shrugs. It's magic. In this particular case, it ain't gotta explain shit. I wonder if Plank. Hmm. I'll think of that thought.
Don't try too hard.
At least I know it's you and not, a facsimile.
That's comforting, I guess.
If supposedly the powers we are fighting against are a grand cosmic evil, I'm sure it would try its best tooth and nail. If I were a grand cosmic evil, I'd be trying things incredibly nefarious, underhanded. Facsimiles,
Uh, I, pre-
duplicates.
yeah, frankly, Absinthe, I would feel much better if you didn't tell me what you were due if you were a great cosmic evil. We have enough great cosmic evil to worry about right now. We can do without the hypotheticals.
Sounds good to me. Yeah. As long as we don't go to hell next. So, anyways, what is out and about these places? And why is the collar shaking?
Sorry, my dogs are
Speaking of
shaking.
which, you have that collar that turns people into a
That you do. You also have a Thamor has a necklace that sounds homunculus, and among other random bits and pieces. I may have to let the dog out here in a second because that shaking was one of them waking up and coming to boot me in the leg. So
it wants you to take it out.
yeah. So I will be back as you guys formulate your plan. Zidane answer that question as well as I've told Evian. The immediate area you're in, without exploring any much further, is pretty barren. Whatever was here has fallen to the ravages of time or has been looted in the past, but almost everything is covered in just dust and ash.
it was completely evacuated,
Yeah.
pretty much.
I will be back in a second.
Dust and
Okay.
ash. Hmm.
All right, is there a magic spell from either the cleric or the wizard list that can just summon a piece of armor?
Major armor.
Mage armor.
I mean, literally major armor.
Uh, there is the what is it, creation, but I think that's got a time limit how long it lasts.
Material.
Creation.
12 hours?
Yeah, it lasts for not very long. Then there's also fabricate.
It's okay. I got my 12 AC is fine. I can deal with this. Everything
I
is
mean,
fine.
you don't like, dark side plank magic?
Hmm.
Yeah, if
I
you
might
found a
have to
bunch of
think about that.
raw, if you found a bunch of raw metal and we were level 7, but fabricate would be, I think, the spell.
Hmm.
I miss my forge cleric.
I'm
You need
back.
something made? Haha! Let me do this short rest, and then you have something made as long as I have the gold requirement. Welcome back.
All right. What have you decided, or what is the plan, or what are people doing?
I think we should do? I think we should explore around, see if we can find some bootleg armor, and then find our way towards the source of the evil and just quench it. Maybe at least check out what the lights are. Don't need to go there. We just need to check out what the lights are.
Are you
That'll be
saying this as absinthos?
yes. I'll paraphrase it, but yes, that is the logic I'm thinking of.
Okay. Um, well, considering that everything else is bare, that's the only thing to investigate would be other signs of life. I say, is it on?
Well, I
Yes,
don't
and
know. I
hopefully.
was thoroughly enjoying listening to the deepest, darkest secrets of your altruistic dysfunction, but be that as it may, we might want to go and do something. We
I'm
either
sure
could go
your
announce
dysfunction
ourselves.
is.
Perfectly perfectly well adjusted. No problems at all for me.
You can fly, right, Absinthoss?
I could make others fly too.
I mean, if we want to do a scouting party, we can have someone fly overhead to see if there's anything down the road or anything of that nature.
Yes, and I wouldn't even need to tap into the void to do it.
I'm sure you'll be just fine.
Yeah, it might be best if someone else flew. My eyesight is, well, it's not the greatest.
Right. Any volunteers?
Is there a reason why we're flying? I don't see why we just don't start walking.
I was
Well,
about to ask the same thing.
the
You
reason
can.
why I was suggesting this is because we don't know how large the city is. We don't know how. I granted we are under the kingdom and all, but having a good layout may be a good keep in mind. How
Yes,
long
and with
does your
flying,
flying last?
yeah, about 10 minutes, give or take. Yeah, you can move pretty fast too. No wings,
See?
unfortunately.
Well, of course. You proved that while we were on the ship.
I think Andros might have proved it too, if I recall, but my memory's a little faded.
Oh, it was quite interesting. I do can't say I disliked it. It was intriguing being that far from the ground.
Well,
Well,
that's my logical thinking is to cover a little bit of ground, granted with the time limitations. But if walking is the second option, I'm sure we should just head on out instead of wandering about, lingering.
uh, I think we've really got two options, right? We can either go and see what's going on that way, and points toward kind of the hovel slash outskirts area to the uh, northeast, or we can go introduce ourselves to the king and find out what's happening in the palace.
I think covering some ground and getting facts for ourselves before relying on courtiers and nobles that have their own agendas, let alone a king.
I have a feeling there's not a whole lot of that going on down here.
If there was, I'm sure they'd be quite hostile to outsiders like us.
Point taken.
I've always had good luck getting to know, well, the seedier side of cities. You learn a lot from them. Let's go see what's over at the hovels. I'm sure some of you, you with the disguises, can make our introductions a little bit less painful than, hello, look, I'm a blue demon spawn.
I wonder if any of them are
We
willing to part with some armor as well.
Hmm. I guess I could. I'd like to go back to the disguise of Ragris.
Okay. Yep. So you cast your spell and magic swirl about you, putting you once again into the guise of Ragris Last Ward.
Evian,
Hmm.
mind if I borrow your cloak? I figure covering these, kind of tapped his horns, might not be a bad idea.
Sure. I don't have much of a cloak. Have a scarf. You want my red scarf?
No, never mind. We'll make do.
Andros, Andros,
Okay.
you can have mine.
Perfect.
I I take my cloak off and hand it to him. Be very careful with
Kind of,
that.
it's a cloak, right? Is there something special about this?
Maybe not to you, but certainly to me. Just make sure it doesn't get set on fire or anything.
I think
Sure.
that our blue friend has an affinity for the water, so if anything, it'll just get a nice wash.
That's acceptable, I guess.
Right. Kind of puts it up over his head. And, um, he's gonna, but as we're kind of start heading that way, Andros is gonna pull out the magical spyglass that he got and
Ooh.
see what he can see with that. If he can get a better idea as we're moving closer, um, if he sees any movement or life or anything else other by the area over in Icebeard's refuge.
Uh, Go ahead and roll me a investigation with advantage.
Investigation.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm not good at that, but all right.
Better than me.
I disagree.
Oof. Oof.
Make a wisdom saving
Pan-
throw.
Pandaros, aren't you
um,
supposed to be looking out the smaller end and then out the?
that would be the nat one. No,
Oh,
that one would have been like it's a prank when it leaves a black mark on his eye. And I'm just, no, but as you're trying to use this underground, it seems the vision from using it underground seems very distorted and modeled. The darkness from just the caverns creeping in, it doesn't seem. Let me just say that the magical effects of this piece do not seem to be hampered by the fact it's being used underground. The roll.
Pulls it away and
So
looks at the other end, looks at the kind of rubs the the front lens on his cloak, kind of tries to clean it off, looks again.
it just seems very blurry, very um almost like you're looking into a dark haze instead of getting any clearer image of what's ahead of you.
Collapses it down. Well, that's a piece of shit. I thought that was going to be fancy.
is there
Pockets
something
it.
wrong with it?
Let's just say the lenses aren't very well made. It's pretty blurry. Anyway,
Well, is there something special about the spyglass other than it being some? Is it supposed to be magical?
well, it can do this, and he whacks it against the rock face on the side, and just like, look,
It
not a
shatters.
scratch. No, no, not a scratch. It's surprisingly durable, but apparently that it's a piece of junk. Anyway, let's keep
Oh,
going.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's the whatever is preventing me from summoning the sanctuary interferes with other magical things.
It's
Oh,
probably
you think
selective.
it's a magical effect? Oh, that's way above my pay grade.
Says
Anyway,
the sorcerer.
What is our marching order, by the way?
Just about that.
It might make sense for me to go like the second in the front, given that I got a decent AC plus shield.
I would be in the middle so everyone can get
Yeah.
aura protection. Yeah, that's gonna be my reason.
Paladin in the middle so he can shed some light.
I guess Seymour's gonna be the front since he has most armor.
Can Thamor see where he's going?
is it
Ah,
pretty? I'm
shit.
assuming it's dark down here.
It's
Seymour is
like I
gonna be
said,
second
it's
from beyond.
pretty dark. There's faint illumination coming from the ceiling, but the ceiling is very, very high up.
it's
So
Seymour's
not.
gonna be
It's not
second
gonna
from behind.
stop
There we go.
him.
yeah, so it's not like pitch black, but it's dark enough where if you don't have dark vision, it is difficult to see, save the glowing of the points of light. It's like being under a dark, starry sky kind of mentality. Like the stars themselves don't really give you a whole lot of illumination, but you can see them.
And I would not be in front.
I mean, you can still be in front. I just wanted to make sure that was the case.
So who's gonna be in
Um,
front?
Andros will step forward. He's assumed these captainly roles, so he looks around at everyone. Right, no one's moving. All right, let's go. Come on, let's go make some friends. Can't save the city waffling around here.
Well, what are waffles?
They're
You've never had
delicious.
waffles, my dear. You have not lived before you've had waffles.
I was honestly just trying to gauge if waffles were a thing.
I guess they
Same
totally
thing.
are. How are
I
waffles
guess they
made in
are.
Almir?
I don't know. Is there a waffle iron?
You just need
Fit
heat.
with the same spark powder that the kobolds used to mine. So
If you can make bread, you can make waffles. It's
There was
basically the
this
same
little
idea.
place, there was this tavern that we used to stop at on some of our journeys. It was this very fine lass. She had this special griddle, and it was strange. Normally, you want these frying pans to be flat, and this one had all these little pockmarks in it. But she'd pour this batter in, and it'd sizzle and pop. She had a little bit of, well, I don't know, spices, and I think there was a bit of vanilla or something. She'd
Mm.
flip these things. Oh, they were great. Put a little bit of honey on them, and uh, they really get you going in the morning.
Can I flip a destiny point to make sure maple syrup is canon?
I just like to point out that we have gone from group therapy to a cooking show.
Apparently,
We're hitting all the marks today.
we will expand that repertoire from everything but the actual adventure. Don't worry.
hopefully everything is being, hopefully everything's still being recorded.
Oh, I hope so. I'll be so
We'll be the
disappointed if
best
it's not.
variety D&D podcast you can get. Where's the D&D? Well, it's in the cooking show, it's in the group therapy, it's in the fishing sessions, and oh, it's also in the
Oh
milk
yeah,
and
Oh
cheese.
man, the game has fishing. Oh man, I'm
Yeah, the
sold.
game is fishing. There's a storyline? Well, we fished for about 3 hours, so, I don't remember
Don't
most of it.
worry.
Trying to find
Anyway,
a hook to
Yeah.
Just like
fish with.
Usador, I will assume the cooking
I
voice.
figured that's what you were doing. Little bit of spiced potatoes. Anyway, so Alton's
so
or
so
Absinthoth is
D and
in
D.
front.
That's great, right?
And
Mhm.
yeah, right. So Andros is in front, followed by um
Absinthoss is a dwarf.
Absinthoth
Correct?
is a dwarf. I guess that would put Zidane in the middle-ish, unless Thaymor's in the middle with him. Morani covering the rear, and I guess we'll say Alton is lost in thought, following behind you all. I will figure out
That
we're doing
probably
with him
sound about
later.
right, character.
Yeah, that's what he was kind of saying was.
I imagine he would have taken either the form of the dwarf or he's going to stick to the shadows. I imagine those are his two options. We'll play kind of by ear on which of those two will happen. Or he'll do both. He'll be in the form of dwarf and sticking to the shadows.
Mhm.
I think that I'd like to like Frey is still in his spider form, so he's tiny. I want to send him out ahead of us, like as far as he can get while still being in range to me, and just so he can scout out a little bit as we're going, and then he can let me know if there's anything that we need to know about, like
Okay.
people, anything dangerous looking. Like,
He also kind of senses the general like attempt at stealth or incognity and kind of dims his celestial light a bit. So he's
mhm.
not a glowing like astral spider. um,
Okay,
but
probably a
he
good
still
call.
emits a bit of a fading glow. He can't fully extinguish it. As he kind of scurries on, keeping that 100 feet ahead of you. Are you keeping your own senses or are you looking through his?
I'm gonna keep mine, and I just want him to ping me or whatever if he sees something worth mentioning.
He just pings Thamor for
Yeah.
some reason. Anyway, all right, cool. So he'll scurry on ahead. Um, okay, yeah. So as you guys push forward closer and closer to the refuge, the air in this area is just stale and stagnant as you walk closer. Even as the lights get closer, it feels more like a tomb than a city. And despite the grandiose size and the magnificence of the structures you see, um, which you can only imagine in its time were marvelous constructions, buildings brought completely out of stone, wrought by the dwarves, brought low to the aeons of time. And things built by the dwarves don't fall apart easily. They're built to last. So for things to fall into this state of repair or disrepair is unnerving to those that can see it. Um, Getting closer to the lights, um, Faye, Frey, um, you hear mentally just talk to you. I think it can, right? Yeah, mentally communicate.
Mm.
You hear Frey's voice in your head. There are dwarves here.
Real ones or statues?
Real, as far as I can tell. They move about. They are. They seem to be doing normal, mortal things.
Define normal mortal things. What are they doing?
Tending to crops. One is hammering at a forge. Other mills about the streets, drinking.
How many of them are there?
About a dozen I can see. Perhaps more.
Are there houses and things that they live in, or they just
I
hanging out in the
see
street?
I see similar buildings to where we were prior.
And they look lived in, not empty like
I
the ones we were in?
I would assume so. I have not gone inside.
Aloud to the group, Morani will say, there's a group of dwarves up there in some kind of village or something. But they're on ahead and acting normal, or so it seems.
Well,
Hmm.
Shall we go introduce ourselves?
Well, perhaps the two dwarves, air quotes, should introduce themselves first.
I'm just as dwarf
That
as them.
Yikes.
uh,
Spike.
loud.
I suppose if we'd rather do things that way. All right, applesauce. Go be a dwarf.
Gladly.
your voice got kind of robotic there. Oh my.
And
Well, he
under
won't.
her
He's on
breath,
his phone.
Morani is just going, under her breath, Morani is just going, please don't fuck this up. Please don't fuck this up.
We'll see if this works. A little bit more. Let's see.
Ooh, ooh.
Uh,
Oh, we lost
We
Shred.
seem to have lost a shred.
yeah, I was wondering when his stuff got very
He said he was on his
robotic.
Oh, wow.
phone, so.
Yeah, I was trying to do it on my phone, but that was not the greatest option.
I mean, it works when it works.
I was able to listen. That was good. Speaking still needs to go. So where am I coming from?
Hopefully, you'll be able to drag. I did it on the.
I think you put the background.
Son of a
Yeah.
dingus! You are all part of the map now. You are all objects to me. Fear me. No. All
We
right.
just got canceled.
You just got. Yeah. Ah, how in the world? Roll 20.
Sorry.
I hate you. I hate roll 20. Oh, you put yours on there. I was wondering. All right, Andres, you don't exist anymore.
uh,
You're just gone, sir.
all
All
right.
right.
So is this
Go.
actually is there actual water flowing here, or is this a dried up
No, yes,
wood?
there's a little bit of water flowing. Unfortunately, the map I found that I really liked is not exactly scaled to the way Gunmorak is, the way I built it. So coming off the main road, there's a few buildings, and then there's a small river feeding down that. feeding down that little settlement that kind of winds and runs alongside the road, to which you assume somewhere dives into the underdark area where you probably once were. But
Yeah, Andros will stoop down and
and you can reposition yourselves in your order. Sorry, I just kind of threw everyone
yeah.
um on the map. Where
Ah, that's where we are. I'm scrolling through a map looking for us.
Yeah, over here on the left.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, Andros will kind of turn toward Absinthoth in his dwarf form and kind of be like, "Can make us some friends."
He said quick AFK again.
Oh my god.
Oof. Okay. I'll just
Um,
kind of give a description of what you guys see, kind of getting closer, as well as kind of Freydis and Moraine. She kind of described. You see a very small, well, small but large in the sense of what you guys are seeing. Settlement of dwarves. Going about their day. It seems more like a village than anything else. You see the normal signs of, village life. You hear the clanging of a hammer against an anvil somewhere within um, this village settlement ahead of you. You see a few dwarves milling about. None immediately taking notice to your presence. At least those that are milling about there. You hear and see several dwarves, like the sound of mining coming potentially farther off, or construction. Perhaps it's hard to distinguish the two when both involve working stone. Um, as Frey had also mentioned, you do see a lot of fields, kind of often about where strange glowing mushrooms and plants seem to be being grown and tended to.
Badger, 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 badger.
Yes, and they live alongside the badgers of the snow.
I mean, dire badgers. Stranger Things.
Andros
So
says they kind of head up to this area. He's gonna pull out his flask and be like, "Come on, little buddy, where you at?" And he's gonna he's gonna, because flask is empty. He's basically dips it into the water and kind of fills it up and
Mhm.
closes it up. He's like, "Well, maybe that's what he's missing." Just fills up the flask, Barnacle's flask, with some
Okay.
of the water of the river.
All right. Cool. All right. We will see what it does. Guess we need our resident dwarf back.
so it's kind of like
Did
there's a village inside of the abandoned city.
Yes. Kind of on the outskirts of what you would, from where on that large map, where the king, like, you guys are basically looking at um Icebeard's refuge. Like, this general area here is where you guys are standing. That part is populated from what you can see going over there. However, looking, to the left, looking across the road, it's all empty. So it looks like it's been more so scavenged than where you are. Like, a lot of the walls and stone have been prospected and moved, potentially, likely to where Icebeard's refuge is.
You're
did you say there were strange plants?
Yes.
So, like, not plants that we would normally recognize then.
Unless you have knowledge of plants that grow in caves or the Underdark.
Okay, so I have an herbalism kit,
Okay.
and proficiency with an herbalism kit allows you to identify plants and safely collect their useful elements. Can I attempt to identify these plants?
You could, you would require you going up to them. Um, Go ahead and make me a roll. I won't say an advantage if you're just going purely on long range sight. It's gonna be
Sure,
fairly difficult to
I can.
identify there. But if you were to get access or go up and potentially work with them or get a closer view of them, you could probably identify them
Sure. I
more
mean,
most
I'll
likely.
I'll do a cursory one now, and then when I get closer, I'll do it again if I have to. But okay, so what am I rolling?
Oh, that's
It would be sorry. It would
sorry.
be
They
your
added circle to the draw tools instead of needing to draw a unroll 20. Sorry, non sequitur. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, they did. That's cool. I believe it's Nate. Let me double check and make sure I'm not crazy. I think it's nature.
Nature, maybe.
Believe it's nature.
Nature
Okay,
would make sense.
So
it does make sense. All
it's
right,
either
just
nature or
a normal
survival. What
roll
I'm gonna go with. Yeah, nature or
Natural.
survival, whatever your higher stat is.
or survival.
Yep, whatever your hat stat
Survival
is,
then.
because they
Yeah,
both
survival
kind
is
of
definitely higher
ascertain to
for
the
me.
same ideal.
Okay, natural 20.
Hey!
You know mushrooms.
I know mushrooms.
Booze and
Recognize that
shrooms
one
is
from
what Marani
college.
knows. Yeah, Marani, are you sure you're just not a just high college teen? Is that what you're really rolling here? You
Hey,
go to
I
every
lived in the
drinking
woods, you know.
event, you know the shrooms on the site, you're talking to like a imaginary friend of wait a minute.
I'm just in a
Wait,
drug-induced haze. That's you figured me out, man.
Grandma
Campaign
was
is
really nice because she didn't toss me out after those college benders. Yeah.
jeez. Yeah, so you see these glowing mushrooms, um, and I'll get a name for them in a second here. You recognize them as a edible and medicinal used plant in the Underdark. The mushrooms are commonly used in kind of more recipes and food. They're very stout, not exactly great tasting, but they're very, very hardy plants that grow in almost any condition as long as there's no light. As well as some of the other plants you see growing, some like long, wispy looking reeds that seem to glow at their tips for brief moments of time. Um, Among a few others, are more what you have in your kit. They resemble some of the medicinal um, components in there. Um, Anything from just curing minor wounds to some very specific ones that were thought to be used for more debilitating illnesses. Some very potent stuff that could be potentially poisonous in the wrong hands, or would
Hmm.
be poisonous in the wrong hands. But I
Is-
will get some name for those in a bit because I was not expecting that to be a nat 20 right off the get go. So
I love it though. Is any of that stuff like immediately around me right now, or is that just
it's not
like off
not
in the
where you guys are
distance somewhere?
currently standing. Like I said, there's a plot of it kind of where I'm pinging, if you guys can see that.
Hmm.
Um, a large plot of, like I said, mostly in that area is a lot of the weeds, a lot of those not weeds, reeds, like wispy looking reeds and long, billowing plants. Um, the other thing your Nat 20 will tell you too is several of these are, as I mentioned, they were already dangerous, like poisons. Some of them are actually dangerous to harvest and require a fairly delicate or immediate knowledge of how to work with them without being injuring yourself. Um,
Good to know.
and then the ones you see farther off, any of those ponds you see are collections of these weeds and these reeds and plants. The stuff growing back here is a just giant colony of mushrooms.
When you say back here, where is that again?
Back by this.
Okay. The fungi
Yep,
collective.
yep. And you do notice, well, not from here, but you would have probably assumed that there are more plots like that potentially throughout. Um, Maybe likely on the outskirts of this refuge area or this town area.
Dread's still not back, I'm assuming. No.
Oops.
There he goes.
And there he comes.
There I come.
Are you quoting Thunderhands?
I yeah.
Oh no. No.
Just had to bring it up, didn't you, Salty? Had to, huh?
I have to. Yeah. Anyway, All right.
Yeah, we
So
haven't even talked about the discovery of Thunderhands yet. I can wait for another time though.
One of you
Yes.
is in a game IDM. Actually, no, both of you guys are a game IDM now.
I fully embrace the death awaiting me. However, I picked a child. You cannot enforce these other acts upon me.
Damn. Who said about killing the child? That just inflicts lots of trauma. There we
Oh no, no,
go.
no. The death and trauma is fine. I meant just enacting a Thunderhand situation upon the child.
Oh. And there goes my Twitch.
They have no idea unless they watch the other episode. This is all over people's heads. Anyway,
Lord.
um,
That's what Ianthos is
anyway,
for, right?
Oh God.
Anyways.
all right. So yeah, you guys approach this area. Shred. I don't. Were you listening, or were you completely gone from the computer?
I was listening. Yeah, I was
Okay,
about to
so you heard everything
mushrooms and all
about the
that.
plants and everything else. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So re-describe all that.
I'm laughing internally that I'm disguised as a dwarf, but I do not speak dwarvish.
Yeah, that's where
Yeah,
it's gonna
that
be
might
hard
be
not
a
having
problem.
Alton around.
That's okay. I'll make life easy. Where's tongues?
In your
I'll
mouth.
just
There's an out of context quote if I've ever heard one.
no kidding, and it makes sense in context. So I will make my life easy. I'll just cast tongues on myself.
So many jokes to be had. But yes, calling upon your innate magic, you cast tongues to ability to understand and speak um
Dwarven.
any
At this point.
spoken any spoken language it hears. Okay. All right. Cool. So what do you do?
Um, that is a good question. We're just trying to find out what's going on around this town. I think that's what
Mhm.
Andros said, right? All right. So
Yes, go
where's
make some friends.
yeah? So where are some dwarves? I guess we'll just pop
There
over
are
there.
Y'all see
some
what
milling
trans
about. Oops, sorry.
y'all see what trans posted in Almir?
Yep.
Just get over
Uh,
my hell. Oof. Okay.
Rip
If he's
trans.
not gonna make it, let me see.
I mean,
um
I would see him probably going with,
like
not to,
depending on what
you know.
how far the walk is, he might still be able to make part of everything, right?
I'm not gonna try and force him to. I'm gonna message him real quick to see if he has a character RP idea as well, as far as why he might dip out. Um, but for the meantime, yeah, there are several kind of dwarves milling about. They don't initially seem to be really taken by your presence. Um, in fact, any that kind of look upon you seem to immediately turn their gaze away and just keep going about their business. Um, there's a scattered handful just milling about. You hear the sound of a hammer off in the distance coming from over this direction,
Okay. Okay. Hmm.
like a sound of hammer on forge kind of deal. Um, and you do see a dwarf amidst the fields. If you're looking for kind of an odd specific one, there's a dwarf amidst the fields tending to the
Mhm.
plants herein. Otherwise, that's really all you see immediately without poking your head into random buildings and saying hi,
All right.
going
So
door to
I'm just
door.
gonna close back into about 30 feet mentally to help link with Andros and ask, should I ask the one in the field? Should I ask the one
I,
in the forge?
fucking hell. What? You can't even give a little warning or something, can you? I
No.
don't know. Go make friends. Stop talking in my head. It really. joins my. Mm.
I love how we all like David Absenthaus ask
Just,
first.
yeah, just get
uh,
used to it. All right, I'll go to the one in the forge, see what's going on in the forge.
Okay. Are the rest of you following, or the rest of you?
River.
Thamore's just gonna go fishing immediately. That sounds about right.
oh dear.
All right, we will get to that in a sec. So Thamore's gonna try and fish in this small. It's a pitiful river, but you do see things moving about in the dark undercurrents with the little light you're given.
It's a hook horror. Just pops out.
Round two, bitches. No,
I'll
what's
I
point
everyone
my
else
remember
bow
doing?
you.
this
Go
time.
away. Put me back.
You killed my brother.
Put me back. I don't want to. I want to get
It was
off of this crazy
it was
ride.
Chad. Um,
uh. Oh, question. Shinari's with me still, right? We didn't leave her back at the house. I am very bad about accounting for my mount.
But
she.
she's
You.
so floating down the river. We see her float in front of us.
Oh no.
Um.
I'm pretty sure
She
she
came
was.
with you. Yeah, she would have come with you. Okay, yeah. I thought for a minute you left her behind, but I don't remember. No, you left your armor behind, not Shinari. Um. Okay, yeah, Shinari would be following you, so that would draw
Shit.
some attention from some of the dwarves if you bring her along.
Yeah. So Dan's gonna hold back and wait for the friend making expedition to bear fruit or lack thereof.
You're gonna what?
I'm
All right.
gonna wait with everyone else while the friend making expedition that Alpsenthos is mounting goes on. Make myself scarce.
Okay. So you're just kind of hiding back in the shadows.
Yes.
Marani, Evian, Andros, what are you doing? Thamor is fishing. Absinthoth is
Just
heading over
encouraging
to the
him.
forge.
Yeah, I'm encouraging Thamor to keep to fish.
Okay.
Just sitting there popping the, flicking the cap on and off of his flask while watching Thamor.
By the way, Drake, did you say the stop speaking my head thing aloud or in your head?
Oh, it was nonverbal.
Okay. Okay.
Reactionary expletive thought.
Stop finding reasons to murder your party member.
There's a reason I'm fishing.
Thamor is secretly trying to fish up a new team.
I was hoping that Trans would have been here, but I guess I'm gonna hold off of my idea for him. Um, in the meantime,
I mean, if you have something specific, you could try messaging trans if it's like some kind of goal you guys want to work on. Um,
I'll do it later because it's probably something that he's probably gonna have to ask you too. So
Ah,
that's kind of the thing. So it's fine. So you're saying there is one dwarf in the field, like, but
yep.
there's no in the surrounding areas around it?
There's some milling about, but they're moving around. So I didn't. Let me see if I. Ba, 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 ba. Here's my. I guess we will just use this token because that's what I have. There is a dwarf amidst the fields. There is some. Like I said, there's a bunch milling about. Um, kind of just wandering, I guess, for lack of better. Like they're going their day to day thing. So you can try and if you're trying to find a specific one, I mean, the ones milling about are constantly moving. They'll kind of look over or like at you guys. They see you, but they really don't seem to pay you a whole lot of attention. Several of which usually just kind of duck their heads and look away from you.
Okay. Hmm.
so
Bowing
they do
in
notice
respect as
us
one
then.
should.
Yeah.
They from what you notice, they do seem to notice you, and most seem like they're trying to ignore it, like intentionally turning their eyes away from you.
That can either be very good or very bad.
So
Oh, why not? Evan's gonna go forward and talk to the nearest dwarf.
As she crosses the bridge, you see Andros lean up. Don't fuck it.
She's just gonna glance down and be like, "Shut your pie hole, and we'll deal with this later."
and
Just
reason to
just
kill the
flips her off.
party is now added.
Flips her a
Sorry, come
bird
from
and
the
a
person we
very
didn't think
cheeky
was gonna
smile.
and murders
Okay.
the party. All right. All
She
right.
The
okay.
dwarves are
So
nicer.
And before we get to that conversation, Morani, you see Evine walk off, kind of pursuing a dwarf. Um, what are you gonna do, Morani? Just kind of an idea where everyone's going in case there's any overlap.
I guess I want to. Okay, there's this one dwarf working in the field here where all of these crops are. Are there
Mhm.
any of these like plots with the plants? Is there anything like that where there aren't like a whole lot of people around?
Yeah. So, kind of looking about, the northern one here is pretty empty. You don't see any dwarves really around, nor in the field itself. As well as the actual area where all the mushrooms are. There's a couple of dwarves kind of moving through, but there's none lingering about.
So the mushroom one is over here. What's up in this northern one?
It's another collection of these like reeds and like large, broad plants. The
Tubers.
ones that you identified as being medicinal in the correct dosage, dangerous potentially otherwise, and potentially dangerous to harvest, as they
Was
are
I able to glean anything about like the properties of the mushrooms?
the mushroom. Yeah, the mushrooms are more of like a foodstuffs. They are
Oh,
like they're not particularly great tasting, but they are using a lot of like they can be turned into stews or dishes of sorts. They're very hardy. They do are fairly nutritious to a degree, but their biggest selling point is they're very very hardy and can grow almost anywhere provided there's no light or very
okay,
little
I
light, I should say.
gotcha. Um, I'm going to make my way up to this northern one here where all the plants are.
Okay.
Just make my way over that way, and I want to try to gather up some of them.
Okay. Cool. So we'll handle that as we go. Evian, yours will be the first because you were closest. You're literally walking to the closest dwarf who just happens to be passing by. Um,
Okay.
what do you do?
She's just gonna be like holding out her hand. She's like, "Excuse me, if you don't mind answering a couple of questions."
Hey, don't got coming for you. And he tries to shove his hands into like pockets on him as he can, and just tries to like hurry and like scamper away from you. He sounds worried, a bit fearful.
Are you worried about turning, being forgotten?
He stops in his tracks and just looks kind of over his shoulder, not looking at you, but almost looking at the floor in front of you. No, you should be. And
Are you blessed?
he just hurries off.
Okay. Kind of giving a kind of like a concerned look. I guess she just turns her heels back towards the bridge and just looks over at Andros, shrugging her shoulder.
Is there a big, obnoxious thumbs up?
um.
Good grief.
Maybe
Okay.
you should fuck the dwarf.
Our
That was funny.
information, our information gathering skills have fallen to just fuck the dwarf.
I mean,
No, but
It's a good thing you don't
seriously.
have a dwarf in your party. But, yeah, I mean, like I said, you get the notion that they're very wary. Um, Andros, Epenthos, as you make your way towards where you hear the sound of the forge, you come upon this building, and despite the fact that it's got the kind of wall set up there in the image, you find a large, which you could only assume to be a smithy shop with a large open air forge being worked by by a very brawny looking dwarf with no beard, completely clean shaven, working this forge. He seems very focused on pounding the metal out of something in front of him, or you know, pounding metal on an anvil in front of him.
So I assume the door is over here.
So, like I said, unfortunately,
It's
I can't
open.
edit the map.
Okay.
It's that entire circular part is open.
It's
It's
open.
like an open gazebo
mhm.
platform, essentially,
Okay.
where he
Got
is
an idea.
working the forge.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get into his eyesight and kind of be like, hey, gesturing so I don't surprise him. Does he notice?
He does not.
At least give me two options, so I'll go with the less hated option. I am going to go behind him and just tap his shoulder, because that's the safe way to do
Oh, woo, woo,
it. Hey,
Sorry.
Hey,
you say
man with a
safety
hammer.
first. But see, that's the downside, is I might get hit with a hammer. But, or the side. The side might be safer. Just tap on it. Try to get his attention.
Yeah, roll me a reflex saving throw.
I'm
You
gonna roll a
have a
deck save.
voice.
Dexterity saving throw, sorry.
Just
I
oh,
got an
friend.
8.
Oh no.
Do-do-do-do-do.
Uh-oh. Please be a nat 20.
He hits. Yeah, as you tap on the shoulder, he immediately turns, swinging this large hammer out to you,
Oh,
and he deals
oh God.
You're right. I should
6 points of
do.
bludgeoning.
Sounds good.
Yeah, as you kind of raise, you just feel this painful. I mean, this hurts. He's hitting you pretty much full on with this thing. And as you recoil, I imagine, a bit from him, um, you see his eyes almost kind of go back into focus a little bit, and he just looks at you, going, "The hell are you doing?
Well, I was trying to get your
Sneaking up on a
attention.
dwarf while he's working like that? I should hit you again."
You're not wrong. But do you make armor?
Do I make
That's
armor? No, I make pretty doilies. Yes, I make armor. And I dent in your arm if you touch me again while I'm working.
good reasoning. Should I ask you your name? I'm
He kind
Randris.
of squints at you. "You're not from around here?"
I'm from a bit far off.
Uh, Kin from far out. How did you end up here?
Gestures with a shrug.
Huh. Well, brother, I don't get many doors from outside the city. Um, if you got the coin and materials, I can make just about anything.
Yes, could you. I have coin. As I'm gesturing what kind of armor, uh, somewhat meta, 'cause I can't remember the top of my head. What kind of armor did Zidane have that he threw off?
Breastplate.
Breastplate. And where is that on the scale of yes to no? Oh,
Um,
okay.
Zidane only had a breastplate? You didn't have heavy armor?
Pretty sure it's well. Let me double check.
Yeah, that's.
Pretty sure it
Anyways,
was
my
just
plan was to commission some armor for
yeah,
him.
it's medium armor. Breastplate.
chainmail.
I was gonna
There we
say,
go.
yeah, I thought you started with heavy.
Yes, it was chainmail, not breastplate.
Yeah, that makes more sense. um,
Could you make split, some splint armor for a friend? Not
for a
me.
friend,
It's not for
all
me. It's
right,
for
what's
a collar.
for a non-dwarf?
Yeah, you said you could make anything, right?
Yeah, but I need the measurements. We don't get many non-dwarves in the city, and most of them get taken away.
Taken away. Where? Why?
I
I can understand why they'd
brought
be
here. The king calls for them, and then we never see them again. You're really not from around here, are you?
not from the city proper, but I'm not that far away.
Hey, he seems just like scratches his head.
So if I
Eh,
got my friend here to get his measurements, could you make his armor then? Is that all you need?
I in the payment.
And the payment. How much would it cost to make some split armor for a humanoid sized person?
Uh, resources. 250 gold.
Let me bring my friend. In fact, as soon as I bring my friend in, I will have the payment. Does that sound good?
Yes. Oh, and in case you didn't learn, if I'm working, don't tap me on the shoulder, or I'll give you another whack.
And how else should I get your attention? So I
Ring the
don't get
damn
the
bell
wrong.
like everyone else is supposed to. As he points over to the corner, you see a bell hanging from the edge of from the gazebo, like near the
Get
actual
his
entrance to the.
name! Get his
The
name!
the -1 in wisdom is really paying off. Let me bring my friend.
Aye, bring as many as you want. I got a skill to make anything. Aye,
Anything. Keep that in mind.
most well, anything I get forged, of course. Don't take that the wrong way.
I'm walking out as he's saying that and gonna try and follow behind
And you
Sedan.
hear him begin hammering again. All right, so we will hop over to the fishing crew. Thamor, dare I ask how you're fishing? Or do I already know this answer?
Hmm. Now the halberd or my new hook I just got. I
Andros is
love the stats
casually
with the hook,
using
so
and Andros is casually using shape water to make the water more less opaque so he can see better what he's fishing toward, what he's trying to fish. Kind
I
of
mean,
waving his hand over the water.
he can barely see in the dark anyway. I mean, there's some light illuminating off torches and stones nearby, but it's still dark
Yeah.
water.
I
Yeah.
guess I'll use the halberd.
It's gonna chuck your halberd in the water.
Yep, I've
All
never
Andros
right.
can
had
see
across
fine
it.
with dark vision. He's just like,
I mean, it's still like dark. I mean, you're making it less murky, sure, but it's still pretty dark water, and what lies
yeah.
beneath, who knows? Go ahead and we gotta do.
Ooh,
It's
hey, Trance.
trans.
Trans
Hey,
is
Hey,
here.
transitions I've made to a fishing role.
Hi, Jen.
Hi, Trans.
Hello. Hello.
I'm fishing.
So to cap on what you have missed, because you kind of joined at a fairly opportune time, uh,
Oh wow.
the Always Sunny gang has decided to move towards the settlements area, so to kind of the northern east area. I kind of assumed you'd be disguised as a dwarf again, since that is also what Absinthe decided to take on.
Oh
So
yeah.
you're
Oh yeah.
both in that form. You come across this settlement of dwarves, not a crazy amount, but a fair amount milling about, seeming to lead kind of almost like a town-like life here. Um, uh, Andros and Thamor decided they wanted to go fishing. Evian tried to talk to one of the locals. The ones milling about notice your presence, but seem to turn their gaze away or completely ignore you, or try to completely ignore you. The one that Evian talked to kind of spoke in a broken common, telling her that basically he has no time for her and she should be worried, and walked off. Uh, Andros went to go talk to what he found was the local smithy and try to commission armor.
Absinthoss.
Or I'm sorry,
Absinthe.
Absinthoss did, my bad. Absinthoss
Mm.
did, got smacked by a hammer for disrupting a dwarf at work.
Ooh.
And Morani is trying to go harvest weed. I mean, dangerous medicinal drugs. I mean, weed.
These all sound like some good options.
Hey,
So,
we've got drunk cheese. Why can't weed be a thing?
We
Right?
are up.
That's
We are up
just
to our
not just weed.
normal shenanigans.
yep.
Yay. So how many roll in my
Also, I
halberd?
got the audio capture, so we got the first part that you missed on
Yep.
stream.
Thanks.
I just want to
Yep.
kind of surmise, see what would you be doing then in this scenario? And Zidane stayed back to kind of stay with Sonari to not draw too much attention with his companion. What would you be doing in this scenario? I know Evian had something she wanted to discuss with you, so maybe we'll cover that in a second. Um, Thamor, go ahead and roll me the attack roll because that's well, yeah.
Hmm.
All
Is
right,
this the
and go ahead
fishing
and just roll
roll?
me a survival check real quick.
Survival check?
Yeah.
Is this
Okay.
fishing? Are you
He's
Yes.
fishing
dancing?
with his halberd.
I'm fishing.
This
Did
is
you
normal
put
Thamor
the rope?
activities.
Oh
These
no!
rolls. These rolls.
Oh, please.
He spears a fish. It explodes.
Right, Duncan Fisher.
I know he spears Peachbeard again. Decided to follow along, and he doesn't have. All right. Damn it, no go.
Do you want to use a 2 or 20?
uh, the DM lawyer in me wants to say the 2 because I didn't say advantage on either roll.
Well, you forgot,
But
DM, that Thamor is a god. So
Who could forget at
uh,
this rate?
Exactly. Besides, if I was gonna miss, I was gonna use my precision strike.
You can't even see it.
Then the
Oh
DB will see it.
god. Um.
Just the long drawn out sighs from the DM.
I broke the DM.
it's beautiful.
Good job.
Okay. So, yeah, you, with all the prowess of a fishing god could muster, look at the water. You barely see. I mean, it looks like almost like a sheet of roiling obsidian or flowing obsidian. Um, that doesn't phase you. That doesn't phase Thamor, god of fishermen and bears and whatever and halberds. Um, and you thrust your halberd deep into the water and feel it connect. Um, Yanking it out, you see this very beautiful looking, like fluorescent looking fish that squirms and fights you at the end of the halberd. Um, and as you go to try to pull it in, it actually slides loose off the halberd and tries to, like, as it is flailing, tries to move forward to bite you.
Bite me.
To bite you. Um, That is a 10. So unfortunately, it just kind of you feel these. I mean, you don't feel, but you hear sharp grating teeth from this thing, kind of digging into your armor, as it's just now latched to your like your arm gauntlet, the gauntlets on your arm, the, like forearm. But it's just
I
this.
still have no idea what it is, but I know the thing's on me.
Yeah, it is a very beautiful looking fluorescent fish that seems very angry. It is bleeding from the wound you left it, but it's still alive should you leave it to be, or you can kill it as you are wont to do.
How big is it?
Hmm.
Oh, about the size of a dinner plate, so about a good almost foot in diameter.
How much of it is mouth?
Think of an angelfish with about, geez, I don't even know how you measure that in a fish. Diameter of maybe, like, if it were to open its mouth into a circle, like 2 inches worth of two,
Okay, so
three
not
inches, 3 inches maybe.
not a huge mouth of
It's not
fish.
huge, but it's very sharp teeth,
This
um,
is this is
with
no
some very
anglerfish.
odd glistening substance coming off the teeth.
Oh,
Blue Man, look what I found.
Andros kind of like offhandedly casts Mage Hand and kind of lifts it up off his armor. What is it?
Uh, roll. I guess do you roll for this mage hand for strength, or does it have a set strength? If I remember
It
correctly.
has. Let me post it. I think just has a set
Weight
amount
limit.
it can lift. Yeah. So up to 10 pounds.
Okay, so you kind of peel it off of Thamor's armor, and you hear the teeth like grating against his armor, leaving scratch marks and a trail of this odd glowing fluid. And it is wriggling with intensity in your mage hand, trying to bite at the hand.
Well done. You've caught whatever this is. Evian, you want to gut it?
you're muted, love.
Abby just looks over the bridge, glances down, and can she make a survival check to see what this fish is?
Uh, yeah. Go ahead. Survival or nature, whatever is your higher one.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Because I feel like the two go
We're
hand in
now
hand
also
for
the nature channel.
disadvantages. Yeah.
I guess I'll go with nature because I'm
For,
expertise in it. There you go.
those
There you go.
redneck
Yeah.
fishing with Thamor. This is a
Hey,
rusty halberd or
Hey!
Bessie. It is speared 112 fish in its time
In 3
Wow.
swings.
in 3 swings, and a dwarf. It is also speared a dwarf.
that's right.
Oh gosh. All the high rolls on these odd. All right, +7. Okay.
All the high rolls of the
Keeping
planets and
Salty
Disney.
on his
Evian,
toes tonight.
you are.
Mm-hmm.
Evian, you recognize the fish, if not necessarily for one you've seen before, but from descriptions of what it could be used for. This thing is a Watley. It is a
Oh,
very
a wackly?
beautiful Watley. Very beautiful, aggressive fish that is also highly toxic. Its venom that it extrudes is paralysis inducing.
Ooh.
Okay,
And
so she
you
looks at. She just gives like a slight chuckle. She's like, I am surprised that. No, I'm not even surprised anymore. It's Thamor. Um, we're not gonna eat it, but we could salvage the toxic and venomous substance within its belly.
We could try to eat
I don't recommend eating it, Alton.
We could try feeding it to someone else.
it.
I'd rather not. Well, what do a certain dwarf ask my hands? I mean, we'll do. Yeah, if you want me to gut it, I'll try to gut it for you.
Or like coat arrow tips in it.
Halberd
That
tip.
too.
Albert tips too,
Halberd
yeah.
tips.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
be
just
down there in a moment.
he just like floats it up there onto the bridge for you. I mean, that's what he just lifts it up there with mage hand.
Okay. Can I attack it just in case it tries to snap at me?
I mean, how do
Like
you want
chop
to
off
attack
its
it?
head?
Yeah, go ahead and roll an attack roll.
Cool.
What are you hitting it with?
My sword.
Oh no.
With advantage because I'm holding it in the mage hand.
I mean, that's up to the DM.
I'm gonna say not necessarily with advantage. It's wriggling. Like your
That's
mage
fine.
hand is
Yeah,
holding it, but this thing is still putting up a fight.
don't miss. You'll get ridiculed.
Well,
The 16.
With the
I
psychic
mean,
damage.
you hit.
what's that damage?
I just look
It
intensely
dies
within
an
its eyes
insulting
and
death.
just go,
Um,
Yep.
Its
yep,
brain
you.
explodes.
It's a fish. Like, yes, its brain probably explodes at this point because you just cut it in half.
I would just say, as he's
Go on.
floating it to her out of instinct, she just chops it off,
You just go
and
grab
then
GLaDOS' voice like, great job, heroes.
Andros peeks over.
Sashimi.
No, there's a process to gutting. God damn it.
I didn't want to be eaten by this stinking teeth. Okay, it's just out of precaution. Although, if I raise this thing to your face, what's your first instinct? Kiss it.
Certainly not
If
chop it in a way that we can't eat it.
We're
if you
not eating
slice
it.
it
It's
right,
venomous.
if you slice it right, maybe it's like puffer fish and it's really good.
I'll
He
take
just
care of it. If you
he
want
drops the
me to,
fish on the bridge.
yeah,
And
she'll
lands with this
she'll
bat.
take care of it. Just cutting her way through it.
For that, you will need to make me a survival check if you're going to try to gut this
Oh,
thing, because it
goody.
is a very skillful attempt to, depending on what you're trying to do with it. Are you trying to salvage its paralysis sack of sorts, or are you just gutting it to decimate it, or what are you doing?
Paralysis
I,
sack. I like the sound of that.
I
Good
rather have
lord.
the try to use my empty vials and gather as much of the the
Realize
toxicity
It's already
the
working on
toxicity
her.
English.
English. So
Look at the shroom.
basically,
This
she's
like you
just
guys eating
she's
so far.
English.
so she's cutting alongside its stomach line and using her vials that she has in her bag, and she'll collect the toxic fluids out of it and store
Okay.
it.
Like I said, go ahead and give me a survival check. It is still a very difficult process to do. So,
Okay,
uh,
it can
however,
always
So
go
raw
wrong.
and wriggling. Oh, yes, precious.
Oh, I definitely store it.
yeah, that is You with the same finesse you showed of beheading the poor fish, you managed to gut it, extract what's left of the venomous sac it had, and distill or kind of uh pour it into a small vial. So you now have a small vial of paralysis venom extract. Better.
We
Um, and you also have the carcass of a fish that may still need to be cleaned before you eat it. There
She'll
may some
handle
be
it with
some
that.
side
She'll
effects.
just, I guess, still on the bridge. She's just cutting her way through it.
Yeah, the
How do you
dwarves that
want
have passed
it?
by. Yeah, the dwarves that have passed by that are watching the spectacle. A couple have stopped and are kind of just watching.
Is it a bony fish?
Um, I
Or
mean,
is it
not
like
really.
tuna?
I mean, it does have some bones. 'Cause, I mean, the teeth and everything like that. So it does have the bones and the ridges along its spine, but it's not exceptionally bony.
Do you want me to roll a medicine check to see how well I fillet this fish?
No, 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 no.
Yeah,
That's
make a
all
sashimi.
survival. It's just
Nah, but she's
Under
pretty much cutting it up in portions and just like setting the stuff aside, making sure they're nice and clean, not having any toxicity on them, and just be like, looking down over the bridge, and she's like, "Well, do you want to catch it, or are you gonna come up here and get it?"
Andros leans over to Thamor and kind of whispers, "You know she's stealing your fish. You know how to do that."
Who's preparing the party?
Right.
You're also like talking amongst yourself. One of the dwarves that was kind of on looking kind of wanders forward a bit. Hey, lass, I'll give you 50 gold pieces for that vial right now.
She just turns to him and be like, "I got something better. Give me some information that I
You're not getting
require.
in my file.
I will talk about it."
His eyes shift nervously, kind of about kind of information you're looking for.
She glances down to Andros. 1 second.
Friend, she's a foxy one.
Andros, darling, I have a friend that you want to talk to.
You made me a friend. Great. Kind of like
She just
vaults up
grins.
onto vaults up onto the bridge. Greetings. Me and my crew are here visiting from, well, above ground.
Look, I don't care about the details. All right? You see him just looking really nervously about him. You're talking too loud. If we want to discuss this
Right,
transaction of sorts, we can meet in a more disclosed location. Okay?
right, lead the way.
Undisclosed. You mean undisclosed, friend?
Uh, did ah,
Well,
clerics.
by all means, lead the way.
So before Thamor
Zerk,
comes
stop
to,
laughing. We gotta play the game.
so as Thamor comes up after Andros, she's gonna quickly just take all the fish, bundle it up, and then just tap it to his chest. Here's your fish, and then follows Andros after the dwarf, keeping the vial on her.
All right,
Yeah,
another
he leans
tally to
back,
Thamor's kill list of those that have disrespected a god.
and Andros leans back to Evian. This is how
Such
you interact with
disrespect.
them without getting in the pants.
Oh, I'm sure, darling. But you're gonna be the one that's gonna be in his pants soon. Don't you worry. And she pats his cheek.
Oh.
Well, if it is, it will be quite an evening, won't it now? I'm sure you
Indeed,
could
it
join us
would.
if you'd like.
You're
Oh,
both
I'm sure you would love
horny.
that.
But why?
Oh my god.
Why?
We're turning into something else now. This is not a channel we should be broadcasting.
It's okay. I've made it the mature signal. Only people who want to be here are. So
Children, go to bed.
Children, don't do mushrooms, don't fish with harpoons, and don't trade
Don't-
viscous substances with dwarves,
other
paralyzing or not.
or other substances.
Okay, so you guys are heading off. Um, Andros, or not Andros,
Mhm.
sorry, Absinthos. You see them following this dwarf because you had your conversation during the whole fishing part of this, and then we will quickly get Morani as well here in a second. Um,
So wait, where is Marani?
Marani went to
She went
go
over. Yeah.
check out some plants up in the northern east area. So
You
we'll,
can do them first if they want to go first.
yeah, well, I figured I'd get to you after since you're going a bit further out to get there.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
See. But yeah, Absinthos, you see them kind of being led off by this surly-looking dwarf.
How far away am I? And can I close the gap to 30 feet reasonably?
Yeah, you're about where you're kind of standing because they're kind of crossing over the bridge. That dwarf seems to be leading them like eastward, further into the town area.
Oh,
All
that
right.
always ends well.
So I'm going to mentally link with Andoros and warn him about the tendency for foreigners to get dragged off to the king to be never seen again.
You
Hey,
just
Andoros. What?
Oh,
Watch
and
out. They tend to take
get
people.
the fuck out of my head. Good night. Ha!
This is important.
I've made friends. Leave me alone.
They might be taking you to your doom.
Great. It's better than you talking in my head.
Hope this isn't Thunder Hands, 2 over here.
I mean, she might be joining us, but
But why?
Uh. Anywho, I'll be going.
and you just
Yep.
see Andros form the mental image of something quite lewd and just projects that toward
Okay. So
to try to
Andros
get
Forgetting about
and
the
Absinthoth out of
morning.
his head.
Evian, you're following that dwarf. Is anyone else following this
It
particular
Um,
dwarf?
looks like Thamar is trying to catch up.
That's
Thamar's
Thamar.
Seymour, his arms full of fish, walking behind him.
Morani, Zidane, Alton. Are you following along as
I wait.
well?
Seymour does not have his shadow armor on. He is quite literally just new.
he has his
Just a helmet and pants on.
skivvies. He has his skivvies on.
Rippling muscles.
Are you guys following the
The
dwarf? You following Absinthe Us?
the paladin with the very ostentatious um mount is gonna hop on to said mount, and he's gonna be nervously. Damn, if I go in there with the wolf, they're all gonna look at me.
They
They're
already
already all
are.
looking at you at this point.
They
You
are.
guys just publicly speared a fish and had a
Oh,
discussion about it biting you and then filleted it on a bridge. So, I mean,
uh, good grief.
They haven't attacked
I'm
us yet.
curious. I'm curious about the green stuff, the greenery. I'm gonna urge Shinari to um, gently trot after Morani.
okay. Alton and, or I guess Mario, wait a sec, sorry. Alton, what are you doing? And Absinthe Us, where are you now heading?
Trying to find Zidane.
Well, Zidane's heading to Morani, so he's heading northward.
It's very easy to find Sedan.
Morani would be heading this way. Zidane's heading ish that way, just to kind of
Stop running away from the free armor.
No,
just mental link until I'm met now.
Not close
And
enough.
then Alton, what are you doing? You following anyone, or are
Um,
you doing Alton things?
what is that? No, um,
I
is
find
there-
another hole in the wall. It's Og's brother.
yikes. Um, is there? Did somebody say that they were going to try and find an armor?
Yes.
So I
Or
found
was that?
one
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and want to talk
Absinthoth
to
is on his way
Zidane.
back from one.
Yes.
You guys could hear the
Apologies,
sound
like
of a
I
forge.
roll
No,
20 on my phone is useless, so I can't
no,
really
you're fine.
see directions. But yeah,
I'll find you
if you,
soon too, because I think you mentioned something about a shield earlier, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, that was the other thing on my list. But
The druid would also love some armor, just throwing that out there. If you're feeling
Well, I
generous.
mean, I think we're following you, so if you just go that way.
yeah, if you're staying there, you seem like a half reasonable thing. I could pick up the link and then say, "Follow me. I know where to get armor."
Shred is really quiet.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was leaning back.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, my thought process is if you're staying there for a moment, I was going to do a quick telepathic link to you. Yeah, basically a quick
You.
telepathic link to you and say, "Follow me. I know where to get some armor and other metal work done."
Are you still disguised?
Yes, I decided to disguise myself back as Ragris again.
That is a good plan. Let's disguise up and go find that armor.
Already found an armor smith.
Okay.
And Sedan just ran ever further away.
Damn it, sit down.
This This is
Stop
for
running away
Cabela.
from the plot.
This is
I
for
left my
Cabela.
I left my armor behind. I need armor. Okay, here's some armor. But there's drugs over there.
What kind of paladin are
It's
you?
medicinal.
It's only with this. He's a green paladin, haven't you heard?
That's
Curious
true.
as to
He
how
is.
there's
His
life
symbol is just a
down
marijuana. I
here.
mean,
It's a
yeah,
leaf. It's literally a
the
leaf.
leaf. Yeah, just a leaf. All right. So we will do that. Marani, you approach this
Huh?
quadrant of the town area, and you see this kept area where it seems like they clear away the rocks and have this very dark looking um, soil, carefully kind of cured for it seems, with all of these crazy looking, like I said, the reeds that stick out at various places with a glowing phosphorus looking tip to them, as well as these very broad looking, broadleaf looking plants that are shorter, closer to the ground. Um, they seem to glisten with like an oily substance on them, and I mean, you rolled in at 20 before, so unfortunately, the fun thing of that is gone. You do know these
Sorry.
plants are aggressive.
Aggressive. Are
Yes,
they gonna bite me too?
quite possibly. They are not a
Oh
plant you're
God.
necessarily familiar with in terms of like directly working with them, but you do know from your kit and potentially just hearing from um, the uses of it or stories you've heard of this stuff. This plant is more likely to kill the person harvesting it if they don't know what they're doing than it is to save anyone. It is a very dangerous, if potent, um, medical plant that
Fun
grows
times.
very, very deep in the ground.
Are all the plants here like that? Or
The reeds are not as dangerous. They're just dangerous in terms of if you were to use them in incorrect dosage, could be poisonous. However, harvesting them is fairly straightforward. However, they grow amidst these dangerous plants.
It's a cornucopia of things.
Hey, Zidan, you were coming this way, right?
Yeah. Hmm. Yes, I was.
You got any ideas?
Well, assuming that I'm catching up to, well, easily
If
catching
Marani
up to
hasn't
you.
done anything, you'll eventually catch up to Marani just pondering these plants, I suppose, with uh
Yeah, I'll say I've just been standing there, just checking them out and pondering, what the hell to do with them, and like Zidan catches up to me. Sure,
So
and
you
Frey is
hear
also pondering the plants with you, confused as to
sure.
hear
why
the
you're pondering plants.
loud footfalls of a chest high wolf that Zidane uses as his mount come behind you.
Hey,
So,
Zidan, check out these crazy plants.
oh, those look sort of dangerous.
You can
Well,
smoke them
roll
and
me
everything.
roll me a nature survival, Zidane.
Okay.
We'll see if you actually know anything about them.
Do
Well, I
you
know that
actually know anything about
You
plants?
know they're
Marani,
plants.
I know that they're plants.
Yeah,
One second.
Marani did not mention anything about their properties, I believe.
So,
Not
survival
yet, no.
or nature?
Survival or nature, whatever your higher stat is that you would use.
Haha, I have +0 in both of them,
Perfect.
Awesome.
and it shows.
I'll guidance you, Zidan. Take a D4.
I think it's a little bit too late for that, although I appreciated
Yeah,
it.
okay.
You don't recognize these plants, Zidane.
No.
They look similar to ones you've seen on the surface, but they are, yeah, you're no botanist.
I have a odd desire to touch one of these plants.
I wouldn't recommend it. I have never seen this particular kind of plant before, but I think that harvesting them improperly could prove dangerous.
Well, does someone own these plants? It looks like it's someone's garden.
Is there anyone around?
In your immediate vicinity, no. At least not close enough by that they would.
Are there any signs? Like community garden,
Like,
don't be a dick.
No.
No. Hmm.
I mean, I won't tell if you won't.
Are you wanting to pick one of them up, or
I believe that they could have medicinal value,
Okay, so the
but
reeds, if you know the name, and they're dark reeds,
mhm,
and the leafy plants, I don't know for, so I will figure something out. We'll say that they are. Uh, I don't know. I will think of a name in a bit.
sure. But the leafy plants are the dangerous ones.
The leafy ones are the dangerous ones that I don't have a name for. The reeds
Sure.
are, yeah, the ones that are the dark reeds are the ones that have like the phosphorus kind of tip to them that aren't
Okay.
like dangerous in and of themselves. That the medicinal properties of them could be good or used as a poison if you know overdosed incorrectly or incorrectly.
Right.
like cyanide?
Yeah,
Wait, hold on. Cyanide has good properties for it, right? Or is it just straight out? I don't.
I think it's
Depends on who you
probably.
ask, I guess.
Yeah.
You are the disease. Here is the cure.
Oh, it has mining applications.
Um. All right. Well, I
The
suppose I can
reeds,
try.
the reeds seem to be benign in and of themselves. It's just that they're around this particularly dangerous leafy plant here. We'd have to be careful in trying to separate those.
Right. Well, would you like to tell me how to extract them? I suppose
Hmm.
my arms are a little bit longer than yours, and I'd hate for you to get hurt trying to harvest them.
Well, I can appreciate that. Uh, okay. Is there like a height difference between like the reeds and the leafy plants?
yes. The leafy plants. Think a lack of better mental description right now. Think of like a cabbage, kind of low to the ground, but just really broad, big leaves.
Mhm.
And the reeds, think of more like cattails. So there's a
Okay.
fairly big size difference between the two.
Okay. So I would recommend trying to maybe snag off one of the upper portions of the reed plants without touching the leafy one.
Right?
I don't necessarily think I'd need the root.
Okay. As far as a roll, um, can I get guidance plus advantage if Marani's literally guiding me on how to grab these things?
I would say you
I
can get the guidance, but you're not going to get advantage because, I mean, this is not something you've done, nor do you know if it's actually the correct thing to do.
Can I assist him in some way
Just
to give him
Uh,
advantage on the roll?
hmm.
I mean, if it's
Des-
just the guidance, then I'm fine with it.
Describe. Okay, well, give me a description or reason that you would have advantage in trying to like accomplish what you're doing. So if you're trying to get the bulbs, the tops off, how are you going to go about it then? So what action or what way are you helping that would give him advantage in a scenario where he doesn't know what he's doing? I guess is my.
I don't I don't guess that there's much more that I can do apart from just trying to guide him as he does it, so
I just realized something, and I'm really dumb. I'm immune to poison.
That helps.
Waiting for him to think of that, but you know.
That helps. That helps a lot. Go for it, man. You don't need me. Take my guidance, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'll take the guidance because you never
Yeah,
know.
have at it.
I was like, why I'm a paladin, right? Okay, so there has to be something. Oh, wait, there's a thing called racial features. Um, so what sort of check am I doing to successfully get an intact harvest, GM?
Sorry, I am being distracted by the fact that we apparently have a literary erotica going on.
Oh,
Oh lord.
Get her.
Just setting some ears aflame. That's all he's doing.
oh dear.
um, it would be a survival check if you're just trying to harvest. If you're just going that route.
Okay, sounds good. Um,
Namor, I ask, bring out the horny bonk, please, and send both of
so another survival. Okay, Arani, can I have that guidance, please?
Yes, hold on. Guidance away.
Okay, survival. Survival. Oh no!
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh no!
Chaos.
as you reach forward, trying to cut the bulbs off these plants amongst the other uh, things. You find that it's a lot harder than you thought to separate the two. They don't seem to cut very easily or separate. And as you're touching these reeds, the plants beneath you, the leaves actually lash out at you and almost wetly slap against you, or try to slap against you. Roll a dexterity saving throw.
Oh boy. Hey, I don't have disadvantage because I don't have any armor on. Yay!
Hey.
Okay. Nice roll. Yeah, so as you are struggling with this, you kind of notice that the plants beneath you shift and move and then lash out, like swinging these broad leaves at you, and with a surprising quickness, and you back away, aided by Shinari coming up behind you and grabbing at your tunic and pulling you back.
Lovely.
Well, I didn't expect that to happen.
It's definitely a very interesting plant.
Indeed. Hmm. Okay. Okay, I have an idea. It's just a matter of how precise I can be. All right, I can excavate loose earth with mold earth. So, could I just pick out the plant that I want and just deposit it on the ground next to me?
Here on D&D, we learn how to improperly do everyday tasks. Fishing with a fishing rod? Bah! Hit it with a halberd. We need to knock the fish out? Chop its head off. You need to harvest plants for medicinal use? Just dig it out of the ground.
I wouldn't have to touch it, and it could just.
Are you doing it on the so you're using molders on the reed or on the one of the bulbous or the leafy plants?
Oh, the reed is the not dangerous one, right? Yeah, I'm going for that
Yes.
one.
Okay. Yeah, you the soil is kind of tough at first, but it yields. And you lift up a clump of earth with a few, say 3 reeds poking out of it.
That seems a lot safer than whatever the hell we just tried.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why I didn't just do that to start with, but
I also just remembered that being a Yanti, well, my poison doesn't affect me like most other humanoids. So I've been around humans for a rather long time now.
I'd imagine that's something that doesn't exactly come up in everyday conversation.
No, especially I do fondly remember before Father Riel and I had met that certain places that featured Yanti patrons, they would mix up these, well, poisonous to other races, but you would drink it and then it would turn your veins different colors. It's alcoholic, so I wasn't really into the taste, but I always wanted to try.
Did you ever get the chance?
Um, Sadly, no.
Would you if you ever got the chance again?
I think that I would.
Well, you only live once, right?
Well, yes, that and Father Riel didn't so much legislate, if that makes sense, on such things. If he did, he'd made sure to beat it into my head with a stick during training. So either I have brain damage or, well, maybe the next time I see him, I can ask.
Yeah,
And
what happened to him?
Zidane becomes a little bit crestfallen at that. Oh, he to say that he is no longer of this world would not necessarily be what happened, although um he gave me the keys to the sanctuary and moved on in the order. I inherited his
What
mantle.
I had wondered how you happened across the ability to summon that place. Can you still talk with him or anything?
I was able to talk with him once. That was the first time that I opened up portal to that to the sanctuary, and he was on the other side. It's a bit strange because you know how
Well, I'm
there's the our side of the door that goes into there, but then he had knocked on another other side of the door, and I talked with him through that one to the plane of life. He looked very, very damn good for his age compared to, well, how everyone else met him.
did he seem happy where he was?
Yes, but he was also with others of the wardens, and it looked like they were preparing for war.
War
You know,
against what?
well, I would have to assume the same things that are chasing after us and gathering their strength.
That's oddly comforting in a way. Not that they have to prepare for war, but just that, I don't know, it makes it feel like we're not so alone in this. Seems a little too big for us right now.
Yeah, it's just things are happening and preparing and behind the scenes that we're not able to see. And yeah, I do suppose that's comforting. But anyways, we should probably find the others before they get into more trouble.
You're probably right. I'll just pick up the reeds that I got and like stuff them in my bag or whatever, and just
Okay.
set back off.
So you've got 3 dark reeds.
Okay.
Would you like
Right.
to try hopping on Shinari?
If there's room, sure.
I mean, a summon steed's supposed to emulate a regular horse, so is there room, GM?
I mean, technically, yes. I believe you have to sit pretty close on a horse, if I recall, to ride 2 people to a horse, but this is an interesting development of sorts between everything that seems to be going on. Um, all right.
Oh,
All right, so we have Zidane and Morani sharing a saddle. We have, well, actually barebacking, I suppose, and that makes it.
Oh
Hold
my
on.
Oh
Anyway,
my god.
oh my God, Salty!
Okay.
Salty, no! Salty,
hello.
no!
Sir, can you raise the age rating?
Yes,
You
it's
raise it
on the
higher.
shirt.
Oh
I
We
think
no.
just need to make it AO
you have
though.
eclipsed what I have accomplished tonight.
Oh my
That I
God.
have succeeded in winning as the GM for once. Um,
Oh no.
Are you winning, GM?
no, it's cost me everything. Alton apparently has duplicated himself over there.
Drag
Uh,
the other token on because I couldn't move the
You
one
left him
that
alone for too
was there
long.
before.
You leave Alton alone, he starts multiplying.
everyone else is just talk. Alton's actually multiplying.
Well, okay.
Ah,
Yeah, I could
Oh,
only move one of them.
I know. I'm just. Wait, which one could you move? Sorry, was that the one you could move or no?
I could move the one on the right.
Okay, I apologize. Let me put one back on there.
I think if you put it on, then I can't move it.
Or maybe it's because you weren't in the game when I put it on there.
Just delete the one that's there.
Alright.
I promise I'll put Alton back.
Okay, that's fine. All right. So the rest of you follow this surly-looking dwarf that you've been trying to incessantly um scare, turn on. I don't know,
no.
kink shame, something.
He honestly, it's mostly just been to make Evian blush. It's it had nothing to do with him. We're just following him and passing time as we're doing it. But he is an innocent bystander to the crassness.
And then Thamor gets drawn in.
But yeah, he just kind of leads you through this uh through the town, leading you to actually takes you inside the large building here. As you enter in this building, um, you'll notice is a large, uh, basically a large cathedral. Though it's in severe disrepair, though still tended for in areas. You see broken pews, a bunch of scattered. Well, okay. You see a bunch of like what seem to be like hymnals or books kind of scattered about at these broken pews, and a large statue um, of a mighty looking dwarf holding a large hammer standing in the middle of it. Um, the statue seems to be worn, but very, you can tell it's been greatly cared for. Um, as he brings you in here, he just kind of sits over at one of the pews. He's like, all right, I don't normally bother coming in here. So, before I go any further, who are you? What are you doing here? And what information do you want me to know so I can get that vial?
Well, we're my name is Barnacle, and this is my crew. We are here on a
Diplomatic mission. We were sent to. Well, we're from across the pond, the land of the White Leaf. We're here to on a liaison for the White Order.
He just kind of stares at you, almost unblinking, or not. Well, he just stares at you unblinking. And why are you really here?
Can I start to back away from the group?
Hey, I told you to follow me. This is your fault.
He just grabs hold of his arm and keeps him in
Go
place.
ahead and roll me a stealth if you're gonna try and back out. I mean, you're in your
Ah.
technical temple.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If
Let's
you're gonna try
see.
and back out, go ahead and roll me a stealth check.
Yeah. Skills. Stealth.
Skill monkey.
Normal. What happened?
Yeah,
Ooh, that's not good.
he notices you kind of like backing out the door, and he goes, where are you going, brother?"
I was just following the lot of you. I have no idea who these people are.
Be as it may, brother, isn't this what this is the temple we normally see you at? Aren't you
Not
here for
this
your
one.
normal
No.
pilgrimage?
Not this one. No. Uh, I don't normally come here.
He gives you kind of an like kind of an odd looking like gives you a curious look. But
I'd imagine we're
you
all
don't.
giving each other curious looks at this
Yeah,
point.
you don't. You almost never go to the main city. This has been the temple you've come to for the past several centuries or several years.
Oh
Um,
no, does this guy recognize?
Mm.
Come, friend. You're the one who led us through the tunnels to get here. Why are you backing off now?
So you're saying you do know me right
Yeah,
in front of the guy after I just
yeah,
said I didn't
yeah,
know you.
yeah, yeah.
yes, you're the last word brothers. Well,
I
you are the last word brothers, right?
I need to go. He just turns around, and starts walking.
The dwarf doesn't give chase. He just is very perplexed at what just happened here. And where are you going then, Alton?
Um, back to the bridges, I guess.
Okay. As you pass by, several of the dwarves give you knowing looks as you pass by. They don't really interact with you, but they just see you and nod their head your way, like a familiar nod.
I'm assuming that I would know the traditional uh like blessing from the studies that I did.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would mutter the blessing.
Okay. It would just be something like simple for like may Morden be with you, or may Morden guide. Uh,
Yeah.
may Morden
And
guide you onto
also
the
with
mountain.
you and yada yada.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Bonus
they
points if I actually use the yada yada.
yeah. I mean, you can mutter the yada yada. Much like anyone passing by, they just kind of give you the cursory nod of, oh, yeah, yeah, thanks.
Oh, he used the yada yada. He's authentic.
He
Um,
doesn't look he doesn't look Druish.
uh,
Man, that was
Got
good.
him.
Everyone wants Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. Instead, we get Spaceballs and Blazing Saddles.
I'm fine with this.
What is the
and in
DM
some
playing?
very specific parts, Brokeback Mountain. So,
Oh Lord.
Oh.
all right. Anyway, so the rest of you guys that stayed in the temple, he this dwarf is just kind of scratching his head. Um,
Well, he did
I
say he was in a hurry. Sorry about that.
I'll take your word for it. He's not normally so odd. I mean, they're odd to begin with, the brothers, but more so than usual. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Whatever. What? Back to the business at hand.
Can you tell us what's been going on here? Obviously, we're not from around here, and this certainly is not the bustling city that we were led to believe.
Well, what's going on? Let's see. We have services on Sundays. We have a communal herb picking event every other day. Uh,
think
but I
he's
take it that's
talking
not what you
about us.
really want to know about what's going on.
Friend,
No.
I think it's fairly obvious that you're nervous about speaking out in the open. And clearly, we are not from around here.
So then why don't you tell me what you're doing here, and I can tell you what's going on with where you're trying to go. Because the best I can tell you right now is that those who set foot into the old Dunmoric have not come back. Save for the very, very few exceptions, like the last Wood brothers.
Fair enough. We are. We're here to see the king.
Well, that's easy enough. Stick around long enough, be annoying enough, and they'll come for you and take you right away to him.
Yes.
Interesting.
But the puzzling thing before we came about this area, why has everything else been abandoned? And then this place is suddenly lively, if you know what I mean.
I, the curse, the plague, whatever you want to call it.
Worth turning to stone.
I,
Does it not seem to affect the outskirts of the city?
he looks down at himself. I'm not stone yet, am I?
Well, neither are we.
Yes. Maybe you will turn to stone. Oh, I don't know. All I know is that doors that go too close to the city start slowing down, turning grey to stone. So, years and years ago, our great King Icebeard set up a camp for us here, outside the cities, far enough away that it seems like we're okay.
Why don't you leave? Why do you stay?
You think I wouldn't leave if I could?
Well, then, but the question then, why can't you leave?
I mean, lay it out for you this way then. Where would I go? How would I leave? The main tunnels take us back to the port. And I'm guessing since you came from there, you know the situation.
Aye.
Leaving through the castle, through the main city, I'd be stoned before I reached the main gates. And over there, he points further into the tunnel, kind of against the walls. We don't know where those go. Those could go down to the Underdark, and I'm not about to lead a mining expedition to get out.
So you
So,
stay.
I, I stay.
And he protects you then. Kind of tipping his head toward the statue of what I'm assuming is Moradin.
I like to believe so. Don't enter our calls much anymore. But we're safe here. We have food. Creatures in the Underdark don't seem to come here. So I like to think he protects us.
But you're saying that this curse, this plague that turns everyone to stone, it seems to be centralized around the center keep then? Is that where the king is?
Aye, that seems to be the case.
And he's protected then?
Aye. Either by Moradin's good grace as the king of the dwarves, or by his magics, his court, or I don't know. Maybe he's got a shiny ass and it deflects it. I don't know.
That would be something to see.
Aye, it would.
But if we make enough noise here, it'll get his attention and they'll come for us.
Aye. Unrest in the town here is highly looked down upon. And the last time we got foreigners from the port, they were here only a couple hours before they.
Is
Who
there
are they?
any other? Oh,
The foreigners. Who are they?
I don't know, merchants, peddlers of some sort. Came by sea, stayed in Denmark.
Again?
yeah. Besides this town, is there any other villagers who are in the same predicament as you, besides yourself and who resides now in this town? Is there any other refugees?
I mean, it's us. This refuge is all we've got. If you're not here, you're in the port. You're at the king's court. Well, you're probably stoned. Or maybe you're dead. I don't know. Those might be the lucky ones.
It is quite troubling. Um, and she kind of looks over to Andros, kind of like mumbling, kind of like shifting a little closer to him, kind of like whispering in his ear. Maybe Grimbar probably has a work or a feeling upon the king or something. Don't you think?
He just nods. Small little nod. Well, friend, I appreciate the information. I believe we owe you a vial then, yes?
Aye, that's what I was promised. And he holds out his hand.
If we were to, let's say, avoid the guard who show up, apparently, I'm expecting them then, where would we do that?
You can't.
And why not?
I don't know. He seems to know. No matter where you hide, no matter where you are, he knows.
Good to
I think
know.
that makes our choice for us then. We might as well.
Walk to his front door.
Why not? Don't know what
That's what he's expecting.
applesauce was doing, but we can stay here in the town, see what services, supplies we can gather, and then when the time comes, let's go get arrested or something.
was something. Right. Here is your vial. And she's actually gonna try a sleight of hand and replace it with something else.
Okay, what are you replacing it with?
She's actually gonna replace it with a with a pigeon.
What a what?
With a pigeon. Like a do you know what a pigeon is? It's
No.
like with a pigeon is part of the
Teton.
piton.
It's
Thank you.
Teton. Yeah,
Piton.
It's a spike you hammer into rock.
right. Climbing tool.
Yeah.
A climbing tool.
I
But
mean, you can
there's also
slide.
something within it. So
Is there? Is it a hold on.
well, it's she's pretty much putting the piton, whatever you want to call it, and she's adding a little bit of gold inside of it.
What is a hold on,
And it's
what
What?
is
just a
the
metal spike, right?
yeah, what is it?
Yeah.
How's it spelled?
Some of
ETAN.
them are stiff,
Okay.
so that
P-E.
when you hammer it into a crack, it actually flexes and holds better. So there's like a little space in it. It's like a spring. So you could put gold in that, I guess.
What's it
Yeah.
called? How's it spelled? P-E-T
Piton.
Piton.
PIT.
Yeah.
P-I-T-A-N?
O-N.
Oh,
ON.
these people are talking.
So almost like a drywall anchor or something like that. Is what you're
Yeah.
saying,
Some
Trans?
some of them are just like railroad spikes, yeah, but some of
Yeah.
them are.
Yeah, it looks like this is looks like it's just a spike.
If not, then she would like to try a sleight of hand and just give him gold in return. She thought I could be crafty.
Well, I mean, I don't mind being crafty. I'm just trying to figure out how that works. It's literally just a steel spike.
Oh, I was getting an image with it kind of like half open, kind of like you use climbing gear with, but that's fine. It's fine. Never mind the Python thing. Sorry.
That's okay. No, I don't mind. Like I said, I'm sorry. I don't mind good ideas. I'm just trying to like picture how that works because he's expecting a vial and you're handing him a metal. Like I mean, even if it's filled with something, giving him a metal
Yeah, I
pike will
never
be
mind. My
very
mind's
Better
yeah.
idea.
No,
Bear trap.
I'm very trap.
sleight of
Oh
hand bear
Lord.
trap.
It's come full circle. Now we just need to find a goat.
So, are you gonna try to give him the gold, or are you gonna try to? Are you giving him the?
I give him the gold.
How much gold are you?
I'm actually gonna give him like um 40 gold pieces.
Okay. You drop the gold in his hand, and he just stares at it blankly and looks up. Uh, the hell is this? I thought we had a deal.
Drugs.
Evian.
Oh,
Pay more, don't you have it? She turns and
I
looks at
have
the
this
fish.
fish.
Evian, pay the good man.
Yep.
He gave us the information we needed.
Fine. And then she gives it over.
What's he
DJ,
going to
can you
do
try
with
to
it
take my
anyway?
40 gold
It's
back?
No,
No,
he gives the gold.
he'll keep the gold. No.
No,
She
he
won't
just
take it
drops the
back.
gold.
oh,
He just drops the gold. He doesn't seem to want it. He wants the vial.
Okay. Yeah. Gives it the vial.
Takes the vial and swirls it around, looking at the liquid inside, and you just hear him go, "Yes, this will do. This might work."
one last piece of information. What might you be using that for?
What do you want to know?
Plain curiosity.
Go and roll me like persuasion or
Sure. I can do that. Da, 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 da. Persuasion.
ooh.
Wow.
Okay,
he's
that
German.
is very high
You're
roll.
persuasive.
He kind of looks over you guys, but now that he's got it in his hand, he just doesn't seem he's that afraid to really kind of just talk a bit more. Because he's got his payment now. You're not gonna double cross him essentially. Um, he goes, I was hoping to try and use it with some of the reagents to make a potion to attempt to reverse some of the stoning. I don't know if it'll work, but I've been trying my blasted hand to get this damn fish, and I can't. I'm no fisherman. All right, you got me. All right, deep dark secret of the dwarf. I can't fish.
Curious then. My friend here, obviously, the one who fished it up, he's quite the fisherman.
I
How
saw.
about at least how we could make a little partnership while we're here, before the guards come and get us. We fish you up a couple more of these, and maybe you put a good word in for us, yeah?
Good word in with who? With Morden?
Morden, with the guards?
I don't really. Well, you can't really put a good. You'll see. You can't really put a good word in with the guards. I'm sorry, lad. I would love to make a partnership. Anything else I can offer, sure, but there are
What
some
I,
things that are just impossible.
what aren't you telling us? If we're going to go get arrested, we might as well know.
Guards aren't exactly human or dwarf anymore.
Oh,
And what are they?
How best to resist the stone than with stone itself?
They're made of stone, living stone.
I. There's no reasoning, no uh, talking up to them. There's no resisting them.
Complicates things. It's
Makes
the
it really
King's Stone.
simple, actually. Sorry?
It's the King's Stone.
No, not
Have
to
you
my
seen him?
knowledge. He makes rounds every now and then. He hasn't done so in years, but last I saw him, he looked young as ever.
Quite the development done. I thank you, friend. I'm hope that our presence here won't get you in any trouble.
Ah, they got nothing on me. I know. I know my way around. Kind of. Enough.
May I at least have your name, friend?
He seems very hesitant at first to do so.
Trust me, all confidence. You've been
Murkram.
well, Margram. Thank you. If
I.
we make it through this alive, ah, I'll swing by again. Have old
I.
Thaymore here fish you up a few more. Eh?
I. Dare said. Might like. It's. It's been a while.
Reaches forward a hand to shake Morgrim's. Morgrim, is it?
Markham.
Mercum.
Uh,
Mercrum. Okay. Yeah, just reaches out a hand to shake his hand.
Again, bit hesitant at first, kind of eyes you over and gets skeptical, and then thrusts out his hand.
I hope you come back.
That
Pleasure
makes
doing
two of us.
business with you all.
Hopefully the next time you see us, we've got this little problem sorted out, yes?
He laughs, kind of that the immediate reaction he would, you would normally have for someone declaring an impossible task, and then he stops and thinks about it for a second.
Maybe I've been looking at this wrong. Maybe you can change things. If not, well, I don't lose anything by hoping, I guess.
Uh, Believing you can do it is the first step. Thank you, Markham.
Aye. May Morden be with you.
Sure, we're gonna probably need it. He just chuckles. Anyway, anywhere here in town that we can get some other supplies?
Maybe a cleric too.
Oh, right. He's partially cursed. And any of the clerics around here, maybe something they could do about that?
His eyes widen in a bit of horror.
You didn't tell me he was cursed. Why'd you bring him in here?
Apologies. I'm not gonna
Do
leave
not
a
worry,
friend
it is
behind,
just
though.
from a petty cod.
Feels- We're all trying to find ways to combat this thing. If any of us knew how, we would have already fixed it.
Yeah, that's
You
fair.
just better enjoy your last day's fishing, lad. That'd be the actual curse. It is, you ain't got much time.
That's disconcerting.
As for
Andros kind of
supplies,
turns. Sorry, you go.
as for supplies, Smithy may have weapons or armor if you need it, I guess, and Hilgrid, botanist, florist, chemist, whatever you want to call her. She may have a few other things she's stored up over the years.
We'll be sure to talk to them before our stony friends come. And he turns to go leave, and then puts up a finger and looks back at Markham. Say, you don't know anything about crown fragments, do you?
You mean that old myth? Fairy tale that tell us as babes?
Well, certainly you must know more about the fairy tale than I.
Every dwarf here knows it. It's a tale we tell the young ones. Long ago, a king once reigned, and Dunmorag was free. Place to be a dwarf. But in times he fell to save his kin. A crown broken in three. They say that when they are brought back together, then Morik will once again see the light of day. We've never seen these pieces of this crown. And the king speaks not of it. Said it is but mere fairy tale.
Well, I am thankful for the story.
Aye.
May we all be hopeful as children, yes?
I Yeah. You're a curious bunch.
Part of a charm.
Wouldn't go that far, but curious, and I hope it serves you well.
Same to you, Markham.
He nods and heads over to one of the sides of the church where he starts rummaging through um, like a kind of a backpack he's kept near the statue. Uh, During that time frame, Absinthoth, Andros, or I'm sorry, Absinthoth and Alton. Too many A's. What are you two doing?
I am beelining where I think I saw Zidane. Because I need to tell Zidane he's going to get some plate.
Okay.
Some splint, I mean.
Yep. You see them getting on Shinari and making way basically in your direction, heading back towards the bridge. So,
I will telepathically link and tell Zidane, hey, you, follow me. I know how to get the splint armor. It's on the house.
The dad blinks a little bit, looks behind him to Morani. I think I see Absinthoss, or heard him rather.
Oh, good.
And it's the only dwarf on the street, so that probably makes sense.
Yeah.
as per usual, or as is customary now, it seems Absinthoth starts another armor fitting session.
I learned from the best.
Good grief.
Come, man, take off your clothes. Get sized.
Oh my god.
All right, so you guys head down to the smithy. Alton, what are you up to?
Alden got really freaked out there, and he's trying to figure out what the hell he's doing. So he's leaning over the side of this bridge that he got to, kind of, palming the crown fragment in his pack, like without taking it out, and just
Mhm.
looking at the water, trying to figure out what the hell he's doing. I don't know. He's
Uh,
having a moment. He's having a crisis.
okay. I
Oh,
mean, as you're kind of having the moment, I mean, a few dwarves are, do pass by and all that, and one will attempt to make small talk, uh, if you care to, because he'll just kind of come up and kind of look over to you and just go, Brother Lastward, does something trouble you?
Uh, uh, and almost wiping tears away, but like there aren't any. He's just, rubbing his face. He's like, what is it? How can I help you, brother?"
Oh, no, you just looked rather troubled. It's a younger looking dwarf. I just wanted to see you're okay. You haven't been by in a while, and you look troubled, more so than usual.
Well, yes, I. There is news. There is, well, there was a ship that, I don't know how to say this any other way, but it appeared in the harbor, and well, things are very strange, and I just, well, I hope things can change here. I feel like this curse has gone on long enough, and he looks away, kind of, dramatically. He's trying to get a rise out of this guy.
Yeah. No, the dwarf just kind of like looks. I mean, if you're not looking at him, you notice, but you hear him kind of almost gasp a little bit. Um, and he's like, "Brother, I know. What are you saying? Are you? Um, I know you have the favor of Moradin, but do you really intend to speak out against the king?"
No, it's not the king. It's I don't know. Sometimes we just feel lost. I guess now is one of those times.
Hmm. Do you feel lost about?
All of this. Why do we suffer so? It's been hundreds of years. What has anyone done to deserve this?
Don't know. I want to believe in the fairy tales, but after so many years, it's hard to imagine they could be true.
Maybe it's time someone. Maybe it's time someone tried to end these fairy tales. Gather up the people and really do something about this curse.
I, I, yes, yeah, we could. We could try to gather the dwarves here. I don't know if they'd listen, though. It's been a long time since any of them have had any reason to go to action.
Seems most are satisfied with their lot somehow. I- But yes, you've caught me at a moment of weakness, and I question all that. So forgive me.
That's what kin do, right, brother? We serve more than we're also dwarfs. We stick together.
I know this isn't customary, but if a brother cleric wanted to spend some quality time with his congregation away from the temples, where would I go? Like
I,
he's trying to say like where's the local watering hole, and like I know wouldn't expect to see me there, but I'm having a moment here.
uh, um, I mean, well, something you would also probably know from your training with the clerics, you're a dwarf. Um, the holy water of dwarves tends to be alcohol.
Right, I knew that much, but like I didn't think that. Well,
I know.
I guess if the clergy are like drinking with everybody else, then that's a stupid thing to say.
Well,
Blessed mead.
more so if you're looking for more of a like not so congregational rendition of it, more of a recreational instead of congregational.
Right. So I guess in short, um, if Alton were to kind of start a group of dwarves by saying, you know what, we really need to band together and try to figure out how to stop this curse. How would he go about what would be the location that he would go to see the most dwarves to have the most impact?
So
And I figured that would be like a not a tavern, but like a more base, watering hole.
yeah, so the from what you've learned in your time in the clergy and all that, and just generally what you're probably seeing here, um, I mean, the most potentially pronounced place would be yeah, either maybe the local bar if you're going for that kind of setting. The other place would
Mhm.
honestly be in the Temple de Morden, um,
Oh
because it
wow.
seems
Okay.
because it does seem that while on the port, it's a very small congregation there. It seems like it's almost phased out at that point, and that's kind of why the small faith is there. But it almost seems like, I mean, judging by the size of the building here, it seems like it's a pretty common place for people for the dwarves to gather.
But there was no one in there when we were there, right?
At this current time, no.
Ah, okay.
Um,
I see.
but if, depending on how you want to spin it, as far as what you're trying to gather, you could, you could spin either way. It just kind of depends on how you want to play it as Alton, as the dwarf, whether you want to approach them in the bar, kind of a, why, what are you doing here? We should be rallying, or if you want to do it in the church, kind of the place of faith where you're trying to
I think that
invoke.
way. The former. Yeah, yeah. Like, atypical place to see a clergy and, you know, shake
Okay.
things up and,
Then
you
yeah,
know.
he would refer you as well to Hilgrid, who, being the local botanist, curative of the plants and all that kind of thing, is also the bartender. She makes some pretty potent drinks with these plants.
Okay.
So, but that would
I'd say,
be he would refer you to the building here.
yeah, so, Alton as, fuck, I keep forgetting my own name. Crumrig, um, would say, to the guy, you know what? Maybe, maybe there's a reason for, maybe there's a reason for my sorrow here. Maybe I do need to turn a corner. Maybe I'll see you later at what did you say it was?
Uh, Hilgrid's bar.
Hildred's brother. If that's
All
not
right.
too forward.
No, I look forward to seeing you there, brother. It's been quiet times here. Everyone seems to be either in their own drink or in their own business, so it would be nice to hear a sermon or even just talk.
He holds out his hand in a forearm embrace.
Yeah, he takes it.
Later then.
Later then, brother. And he gives you a curt nod before heading off.
Cool. Yeah, I get to write a speech.
Yeah, you get to try and we may have an army of dwarves at this point, or a militia of dwarves, or a gaggle of dwarves. I don't know.
Or a wandering troop.
Or a
Let's
single
go wander
overzealous
into the
dwarf.
right places and see if we can find a crown fragment. We
And also, you have to make sure you find a communications officer that's a direct line into the king's castle, so that when you meet him, oh wait, wrong campaign.
Is it though? I mean, you are having an armor fitting session again.
Oh no.
But this
Okay.
time you're getting fitted.
Oh
I
no.
think this might be a decent place to kind of wrap up, if unless you just want to like quickly go over some last minute, like what are you guys doing?
I
Because
was
I know
having.
almost you have the speech. Two of you are getting armor fitted.
Mhm.
I
Which
was
if
probably
you're
gonna buy a
getting,
shield too while I'm at it, but yeah.
yeah. So if you guys want to give me what you want to buy, I'll go ahead and get prices out instead of
Yeah.
RPing every interaction with the smith. Unless someone wants to tap his shoulder, you're gonna get smacked. I will gladly
I'd
roll the
rather
attack.
not.
You sure?
I
I'm pretty sure.
All right.
And then Morani, what kind of armor do you want?
Um,
I was.
I will get back to you on that.
I have to ask
'Cause I know,
if the smith has something non-metallic.
Yes.
like,
So I know
like, would he
having
have leather? This person,
Yes.
he
So
would. Okay.
yes. So as you guys are gathering this community, think of it like almost like a very small, like close off from the world town. Everything they make down or have to like create down here, they almost make themselves. There are imports, as you guys have learned. There's still kind of traffic coming into Dunmorok, but they're stopped at the main gates. So stuff flows here. But the trades in here are very good at their jobs. So the smith is very good at making a lot of things. Hilgrid is, well, as you'll meet, is very adept with the plants of the local Underdark here. Um, but they're also very limited in their knowledge as far as they only know the world enclosed in this town. So, kind of a sequestered little part of the world. But yeah, if you guys want to get, like, say, give me a list of things you want to see if the armor smith has or can make, I can get that going. Um, as far as like the prices and stuff like that. Uh,
Hmm.
Yeah, I
Good.
mean,
Anyone in this town that
Vivian
can
want
enchant
to do something.
weapons?
sorry.
Sir goes
Uh,
first.
Evian said she wanted to do something with Alton earlier,
yeah,
right?
I mean, if there's time, if you don't have time, it's fine.
I'm here.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, yeah, I would
Okay.
like to have a little moment with Elton, if that's all right.
Yeah, he's gonna be trying to come up with what to say on the bridge, so he's just standing there.
Okay, so yeah, coming out of the temple and kind of bypassing Andros and Thamor, um, she kind of like being that she knows that you're in disguise, she's gonna stand next to you, kind of like hunker down a little and kind of like whisper to you. She's like, um, I don't know what you're called in this disguise, but I think I found some earlier, um, during the times that we were kind of investigating the places that we. And she kind of opens her bag to show him like a silver circlet that has a gem in the middle, and she kind of hands it over to him. Do you recognize something like this?
Um, he says, "This faces Crumrig, the
Hmm.
dwarf, and what is this you have? A circlet, you said?
It's yeah, it's a silver circlet with this gem in the middle. I don't know if it's anything to do with what's going on here, especially with the old king that used, well, what we discovered or discussed yesterday before we all rest. Um, don't know if it has any ties with the fairy tale book or any connection with Crown.
Where did you find it?"
It was in one of the nearby houses. I was kind of like looking for books per se to see if find any background, but came across this instead.
Hmm. Well, never, I hadn't heard of anything like that, but then again, I haven't really had a chance to do any proper research on the crown itself. Um, I'm
I would,
assuming that you're asking whether it's related to the crown fragment that I have, but
yeah, that or something to do with uh, what was his name? They got the man that we met in the book that was kind of like first be like some wolf form, that
oh
dwarf.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that man. uh,
Um, I don't know. Salty, do I have any idea what's going on right now?
I mean, it roll me an Arcana check.
Oh,
This ought to be not enlightening, but let's give it a shot. Click, click. Oh my god, this tablet is so slow. I apologize. Arcana, and there is the Arcana check.
Okay,
not too bad.
Yeah,
it's
not too bad.
it's not too bad. You the design of the circlet doesn't really seem to match the same design of the crown. However, just kind of holding it and looking about it, you do sense, get the feeling there is magical properties about this piece. Um, so yeah, it is a magical item. You don't know its function just from kind of holding or looking at it. But at the very least, there's no immediate like design or inscription or even presence, the same kind of presence you feel from the crown in the circlet.
Uh,
Like it feels
well,
like
I
a
mean,
normal magical item for as far as I can be described.
yeah, it seems magical, but have you tried it on?
No, I have not. I figured since we're kind of on a mission here, you know who, Miss W. Uh, I figured I'd get in touch with you first before I do anything.
Well, I think somebody should try it on.
Sure. You want to try it on? And she hands it back over to you.
Al- Alton accepts it and looks in either direction. How many dwarves are looking?
I mean, there's a few passerbys, but they're for the most part they mind the privacy of the cleric. So
Well, this is about to get interesting. I put the circlet on.
for a brief moment, your eyes are blinded by a bright light, and then they adjust. And as you look about, it seems like the entire cavern is lit in starlight, and you can see as though blessed by the light of the moon.
Ooh. So it's like it was kind of dark and, undergroundy because it's, dwarf land. But now it's like brighter and
Yeah, you basically
maybe
look as if though like the entire area is bathed in moonlight, so you can see. It's like seeing in a normal kind of light, like a normal daylight almost ish, but in a silvery moon glow.
okay.
That's
Circlet,
pretty
So
cool.
circlet of moon vision.
so Alton he puts it on and then when the flash happens, he's freaked out, but then it stabilizes and he can see it around. But it doesn't matter. He thrusts out his arms and he's like, "Oh, heavy hand, I'm blind. I'm blind." And he starts wandering around on the bridge.
What, hold still. And she's like chasing
I'm,
after
bl-
him and taking it
I'm
off.
blind. I'm blind. That's it.
Yeah, I guess she'll just try to see if she can take it off herself, if it does anything.
Yeah, it pops off.
Okay, good. No side effects,
Okay.
right?
So then he pretends like oh thank you. I I couldn't bring myself to take it off, but I was blind. You definitely don't want to hang on to that. You're gonna want to give that to me. I'll take care of it.
Uh,
Insight check.
Hey!
oh.
Yeah!
It may have looked good on you, but Alton, I thought you were a good liar.
Oh, what made you think that?
Oh,
Hmm.
Alton just took psychic damage.
It's a dangerous game.
She just like gives him a sly wink, and then kind of like puts the crown back in her bag, or the circlet. I mean, right? We should probably meet with the others, but I'll give some distance so that way you can continue this visage.
Okie dokie.
And yeah, she basically kind of like moves away from him after that whole display. I'm sure they watched and goes over to Andros and Paymore, see what they're doing.
Just has his arms crossed and has his eyebrow raised.
What?
Few
Having
dwarves wink at Alton after you leave. I'm just,
having fun.
Well, I sure had a kick out of it. Didn't you see him cry out and I'm blind, I'm blind?
Such he found.
I think. Okay, fine.
Apparently.
I found it during my investigations earlier. It appears to be some circlet, and what I have discussed with Elton, um, it does not pertain to the crown prince that I thought. So, but it's something to do with him being blind, so
It's a pretty trinket, that's for sure.
yeah, but we'll figure it out later once we get into privacy area.
Sure. Brother, you coming?
No, he doesn't. He's trying not to acknowledge the group.
We'll meet him at other times. Let's find the others before he'll meet up.
And Ronnie, Zidane, and Shinari come down the avenue.
Mhm.
Mm.
I imagine just Absinthoss is trying to lead the way and is mysterious. Like he just psychically links to you and walks off, and Shinari just overtakes him. So Absinthoss is trying to run to catch him.
Hey man, short dwarf, short of legs, can't walk as fast. Maintain the disguise.
They're great sprinters.
All right, cool. I think that is a decent place to call it since it is going on 1 a.m.
Mm.
Sounds good.
But yeah, you guys starting the trek into digging up more of the history of Dunmorag.
Ooh.
Times.
Excited, curious to see how it plays out. I'm excited. There's a point that's coming up that I believe you will hit at some. Well, eventually you will hit. I'm excited to see how you guys handle it. So, but hope you guys had fun, even if it was more of a kind of another RP exploring big city. Seems to be happening quite a bit. I guess that's
It
what happens though when you
happens.
enter a gigantic dwarven city. That's
Watch
oh wait,
Thunderhands actually be the king.
Oh no.
no, it's not that
Please
much of a
no.
meme. It's not that much of a meme city.
Is it though?
A little bit, but
He's
those
just jealous. That's all.
Just a
But we
little.
did find out some important stuff. We found out that the king is seemingly in league with Groombar, or at least
Hmm.
he's using stone soldiers. Interesting indeed.
Doo-doo-doo-doo.
you've also learned a few other random bits as well.
Yes.
So there's some fun things afoot in the city of Dunmore.
So,
And
same
Salty, to
time next
answer
week?
your question, how we're probably gonna deal with it? Probably with punching it.
Dealing with,
I don't know, whatever's coming up, we'll probably punch it. That's a
I
guarantee.
figured as much. Is to be punching your head with a halberd. That's basically the two actions you have written down.
Oh, why not both?
That's your character sheet. It just
Why
says
not both?
Thamor, Strength, and Punch and Halberd. That's
Yes.
all written on the sheet.
And then
There's
there's an
nothing else.
entire
Just
page listed just for fishing.
And another page after that says God of, and just a
Wait, did we
list,
use the
just
Umber
growing.
hole?
oh yeah. Yeah. Salty, take a look at my sheet very quickly, and look at my class.
You only had the claw though. No one spent time harvesting the Umber Hulks, apart
No,
from
I
you
only took
chopping
the
its
claw.
claw off and kicking it in the water. I
No,
was
Salty,
curious if
you're
you
not
guys were gonna
wrong.
go
Take a
back
look
for
at
it.
my sheet and the class sheet.
The what?
Take a look at my class sheet.
Did you just magically write down that you got Umber Hulk scales?
Oh no! I meant take. You'll see when you look at it.
Sweet. Um, wait, the other class abilities?
Yeah.
The fuck? When did this happen?
A while ago.
I'm pretty sure that's not a normal feature.
What's the feature?
I
Pretty
actually have no idea what
sh-
you're talking about.
On your turn, when you score a critical hit with a melee weapon, reduce the creature to 0. Oh wait, no, that's normal. Wait, what am I reading?
No. Take a look at my
That's
class. Take a look at the class actions.
Oh, beneath that, godly second wind, godly precision attack, godly. Wait, the only one that isn't godly is your trip attack. Are you saying that's actually a
That's because I don't
cowardly
actually have
attack?
it right now. I think.
It needs to be cowardly trip
I think
attack.
it's the
All
only
the
one I
others are
don't
godly,
learn.
but trip attack is a coward's action.
Yes. I'm just gonna call that one petty attack.
The kneel before me.
That's a
I
good one.
think we
Actually, that's a good
I
one.
I think we need to get Thamor the Trident of Fish Command.
So with these names though now, Thamor, I fully expect you to yell them out as like a very anime-esque trope as a
Oh,
godly action.
no.
God, Thamor, godly pushing attack.
Oh, just wait for my weapon's about to miss. I'm like, oh wait, no, my golly precision attack. My weapon just hits him anyways.
Consecutive normal
Nani.
punches.
Oh, you miss it's just Nani. Romantically
Oh,
better
Nani!
for more.
Okay,
that's what I
and with
teleport behind
that,
people.
thank you whoever stopped by to chat and was not a bot.
Oh,
And good night. Goodbye, stream.
oops.
Bye stream.
Sorry,
Bye,
stream.
stream.
Bye, stream.
Did we tell them about Fables RPG though?